Get ready for 2 hours of hard-hitting football talk, straight from their jocks about the jocks. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome once again to another episode of Football on the Know. I am Jim McPhee, alongside of me is Mr. Joe DeCapita.
What's going on, Know-It-Alls? Welcome back for another edition of Football on the Know Show, and a very special edition because guess what is just around the corner, but none other than the 2022 NFL Draft.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
tomorrow night in Vegas, baby. Lights are going to be bright. It's going to be shining. It's going to be hopping. It's going to be awesome. But listen, and we're here to give you none other than our annual mock draft for tomorrow night's festivities. And let's see how close we can come this year. I know last year we did this. We were doing shots for every time we got one right. And we had 8 to 10 shots or something like that throughout the first round. And we did a pretty good job, I think. So we were a little tipsy at the end of that night. But nonetheless, we are here to talk about the draft. Listen, if you're new to the show or if you're a long-time know-it-all, welcome back for another edition. If you want to, do us a big favor because it really helps us out, helps the channel out, helps us get more exposure and being able for other people to see us. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, search us up Football on the Know Show. Go over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. That helps us grow, helps us other people find us easier that way. And also hit that notification bell to let you guys know when we go live. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, become a know-it-all, and let's get this thing started. I am excited. Let's go.
Absolutely. It started off quick here with Cody Raptor's in the house with us tonight. He says, late start, I see, tonight. Yes,
what's going on, Cody?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Well, we had a bunch of different things planned and stuff, but a lot of stuff graphically wasn't going right for us, so we tried our best to get everything out there for you guys, but we're going to roll with it. We're going to have a lot of fun and get things going for you. But, yeah, that's right. It's our mock draft. Last year we had a lot of fun. We weren't able to – I don't think we even brought it on our show. Maybe we did a little bit and talked about it. But then, yeah, during the draft it was cool to go through everybody, see how many we hit on, how many we were off, but then how many we actually got right, but then throughout the trade still landed at the same position. So it was pretty amazing. Max Lloyd is in the house with us today. One day that will be the Patriots do this year. Hi, guys. Too. The Lady Bills is in the house with us
what's
tonight.
Going on?
Absolutely,
Welcome back.
too. Absolutely. I got to get the DJ horn going for everybody.
Yeah,
so there you go. DJ horn out there for everybody. All right.
That's right, Max. So, one day away. Listen, I mean, it's tomorrow night. It's right around the corner. It's where a lot of teams are going to get better or worse. We'll wait and see how that all transpires. And then who knows what happened on day one. You know, there's been rumors going on right now about maybe possibly teams are calling each other right now, and they're trying to work out a trade to either move up or move down in the draft. We've heard just recently that Seattle is one of those teams at 9 overall that's looking to trade down and trade out of that spot. So they have some interest, just like I feel like a lot of teams have interest in the first round. So let's see what deals get consummated and what happens in it tomorrow night.
All right, so here we go. And Lady Bill says, long time no see. And she says, also, I was supposed to be in Vegas. Oh,
man.
Bummer. What a bummer on that. I'm sorry that you weren't able to go there. That must have been,
that
would have been awesome. You know, he would have liked to be in Vegas, too. I mean, I think that would have been awesome, too, for everybody. All right, so I think we left people waiting long enough, Joe. But like we said.
Yeah, I'd say so. About an hour.
Yes, it is about an hour, even longer than that. But here you go. It's our 2022 mock draft. Here we go. Oh, COVID. Oh, that stinks. COVID ruins everything, I guess, this year, huh? All right, here we go. We're going to start off with the Jacksonville Jaguars are now on the clock, Joe. All right, the Jags, you know, they could have went into a couple different places here. We've heard recently now different names pop up. Everybody was banking on Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan.
Yeah.
But again, we were looking at offensive line too, but, you know, they just sealed the deal there with Cam Robinson now, so he is no longer franchise tag. They got him signed into a deal, so that probably eliminates offensive line here.
Yeah, and the other thing that everybody seems to forget is the right tackle that they have. He's a young right tackle, everybody, and he's a pretty solid one at that, Jalen Taylor. So, you know, it shows you, look, so now that they're picking first overall, it's like, okay, that's not really a major need. It's not something that they really need to take first overall. So you could easily make the case that they still could take one of these great offensive linemen, and they're worthy of this pick. However, what's going to help your team now and help it in the near future to bolster them all together? But the Jaguars pick is in.
All right, the pick is in, Joe. Who do we have
in.
for the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Who do we have?
It's none other than...
You got the list over there.
I thought you would say it off, too. All right, it's none other than Trayvon Walker out of Georgia, defensive lineman. Here you go. There you go. Trayvon Walker, again, we've heard this name pop up recently here that they might go for him. Joe and I took a look at him, look at Aiden Hutchinson too as well. But when you look at the tools that Trayvon Walker here, I think it fits that defense well, and it'll complement Josh Allen too as well in this defense. And I think it's a perfect fit altogether.
And not only that, like the Jaguars' needs going into this draft are D-line, safety, and linebacker. Those are their biggest needs. And why when you can take a prospect that can do both for you? So Trayvon Walker, as big as he is, 6'5", 275, runs a 4.4 40, extremely fast and athletic. He wasn't asked to do. I know a lot of people out there are going to say, "Oh, well, he didn't get sacks. He didn't, do that much in terms of pass rushing." But at Georgia, he wasn't utilized as just a pass rusher. They wanted him to play more of that containment end position and not to really rush the quarterback. So they asked a lot of him in zone coverage and just maintaining that edge so others could get after the quarterback. So a guy like Trayvon Walker is very unique in itself because, given his God-given ability and size with that speed of his, this guy has the potential to be something super special, almost like a hybrid defensiveman. So this guy can play D-line, could play D-end. And with NFL coaching, he could be a nasty D-end. You watch the tape and see how much he can bend and how much body control he has. It's hard to, not fall in love with. But also, he's also deadly as a linebacker. So there's that case of where you could utilize him in multiple positions any given time, kind of like an Isaiah Simmons for the Cardinals. That's the reason why they drafted him. So I think this kid could do a lot for the Jaguars. Yes, it's not an offensive lineman. Yes, it's not like a wide receiver or anything, but it's too early for the wide receiver to talk. But Jaguars, they go with Trayvon Walker from Georgia.
There you go. Cody says, wouldn't be surprised. Walker seems to be the best overall player in this draft and could be a huge playmaker for the Jags to really help out that defense back to its former glory. Only 1 or 2 seasons of glory, but still.
And you think you also think about this addition. If they do Trayvon Walker, how nasty of that pass rushing defense they would have. You think about the guys that they already have, Josh Allen, who plays DN, Kalavon Chason, who plays that outside linebacker role. And then now you bring in Trayvon Walker, who could do both. Whew. It's looking good there in Jacksonville.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right, we added something this season, too, to this to have a little fun here with this draft, too, as well. So we're going to call this is the 2022 NFL Know-It-All Magic Ball. We've got a spinner here. We put all the names here of the top prospects here on this spinner list.
That's right.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go through and see what the spinner calls for on this one. It could be random. We'll see what happens here. Who they go for.
What's the first pick?
Jacksonville Jaguars. The spinner goes for. Oh,
this is gonna be a reach.
What? Jordan Davis with the pick.
That's not happening.
Man,
We could,
that is insane.
We could easily say that's not happening.
Man, all right. So he's gone from the list. Jordan Davis goes. All right. Here, it's back out of this one.
No.
It's back out of this one. Here we go. Let's see who we're gonna go for now with the second pick. Joe, on the clock now are the Detroit Lions here.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
Not the Vikings. I got the Vikings there by accident.
Get it together here.
Get it together here.
Anyway.
Damn it, the graphics. Here we go.
Yep.
The Detroit Lions.
The Motor City, and this is kind of like a no-brainer pick. If this happens, it's a no-brainer pick. Hometown kid, right from Michigan, played for Michigan, You guys already know it's Aiden Hutchinson.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is what Dan Campbell's dreaming to happen. You know what I mean? He wants a blue chip type of player like him, who a lot of people consider him the best defensive prospect coming out. But, man, a tenacious pass rusher, a guy that's going to get it done in the run game and the pass rush game. So, great physique. He's got phenomenal, powerful legs, great hand technique, great pass rushing moves. It's hard to turn a player away like this. Man, this would be a dream scenario for the Detroit Lions, and this is where they can start. He'll be a foundation piece to start rebuilding this Lions defense.
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, we saw this would be a perfect fit here for the Lions. It just matches up all together, especially after the rumors of Trayvon Walker coming out, maybe that for the Jags. So this is lining up really nice for them. Let's see what the spinner's going to go to here,
boy,
Joe.
I
Let's go
can't
to
wait.
the spinner. What does the spinner have to do on this one? Let's what's going on here? Why isn't it coming up here? Let's see. It's Dean.
It's not going to happen.
Dean is the pick.
Another reach.
Dean is the pick
for the magic ball. Another
Dean
reach.
is the pick. That is insane, dude. What the hell is going on with that one?
Yeah, just hit
There he goes. There it is. There it is here. There's what they choose here. Dean is the pick for number 2, which is pretty odd here, too, as well. All right, next up for the third pick here, Joe, we have the Houston Texans here. Here with the 3rd overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. The pick is in. All right. This might be a surprise to a lot of people. I know a lot of people. There's a lot of talk about this guy amongst a lot of different teams, a lot of interest. You know, maybe the best guy at his position that is out there right now. And again, a lot of local teams want to pick this guy up. I think it would be a great spot for any of those teams that are in the northeast region here for the Jets, the Giants. But we got him going here to the Houston Texans. It's Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner is going to go to the Houston Texans because if you look at their secondary too, it's really lacking. They have a lot of different parts on that team that could use some help. But if you look at their secondary and this guy's sitting there, I think this is going to be a perfect spot for them right there.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is, like, everyone's going
Cody
to kind
says
of look
now
at,
our drafts no longer line up.
that's okay. And the problem with the Houston Texans is picking at 3 overall. The problem is that they have a ton of needs. So logically, what would be the best option for the Texans is if they were willing to trade out of this spot. They could get a big-time haul of draft picks for this number 3 pick here. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. Hopefully they make the smart decision here because they have so many needs that they just need to kind of – we already know they're in rebuild mode. So they have a quarterback that they like in Mills, but they need to help build around him. Like they got Nico I forgot his last name, the wide receiver there. And they have Brandon Cook still at the receiver position. But other than that, like – they just got a lot. They need a lot of, picks. They need a lot to repair on this roster and get them back to somewhat of a football team, some shape or form of one would be nice.
Shape or form of one, not to do to
because I mean, listen, it's really funny when you look at team needs right now. You go on the website, any website right now, and you look at like Houston Texans team needs. It's not 3 positions. It's not 4 or 5. It's every position.
Every position.
So that tells you right there that they just need a ton of help from everywhere.
All right, Joe, let's go to the spinner that's out there. Again, 2 surprise picks here for the first 2. So let's see where we go here with the 3rd pick for the spinner.
Let's see.
And what do we
got
have?
for
Here
the
we go.
no-hole
Who's going to
magic
land?
ball?
Let's see. Stops at Olavey. Kenny Pickett! Kenny Pickett! There it is, Pickett! The first quarterback is off the board already, and it's Kenny Pickett. Wow. Yep. Oops. Yeah, I wanted to remove him. Oh, well, I'll do it after. There you go. Wow. Holy moly. Kenny Pickett goes a 3rd pick in the 2022 draft here by the spinner. The spinner is getting pretty crazy already, Joe.
I think that Spinner's been drinking before we even started this.
Perhaps
because
it is like the drinking show here for that.
It's like
one.
very random.
Yeah. So wow, Kenny Pickett, imagine that though. That would be hilarious. All right, so here we go. So now we've got the New York Jets are going to be on the clock here. Joe, let's tell about the Jets. What kind of needs the Jets have here? Do you think they go offensive line here to help out Zach Wilson some more with the how they're looking at Mekhi Becton and how he's kind of gained some weight? Doesn't seem like he has the work ethic that's in there. Cody's in there. He says, "You watch the Spinner will get more right than any mock draft." Like, who knows, buddy?
So far, Cody, I'm willing to bet my house on that because the Spinner's way off.
That is. Imagine that, though. That is. Wait, with some of the mock drafts that are coming out, with some of the people are saying, especially some you watched recently, some of the people are reaching on a lot of different things. The quarterback's going way early too. I don't get that.
Here's the hardest thing for fans and people that do what we do is, you're going to look at the needs that a team needs to go and obtain those positions, but also you got to look at value for your pick. It can't just always be about like, oh, we need an O-lineman. Oh, we need a linebacker. Oh, we need a safety. Because sometimes where you're picking, it doesn't line up with the prospect that might be available to you. So that's where you start to get people that consider them reaches, when you go to take them, even if you fall in love with a prospect. So I've always, thought that the best way to draft is you draft no matter what. You don't draft for need. You draft for best available, because that's what's going to end up making your team altogether better over time. Like, you might have a need at tackle, but man, if you got a stud D tackle that is sitting right there that you never thought you would have a chance to get, you go and get him because he's going to be an impact player, and you know it. But the Jets are sitting right here. They got a couple of needs. I say a couple. They have more than that. But listen. To be fair, their offensive line could be a need because their right tackle is weak. They do need help on defense a lot. They need linebacker help. They need corner help. And then on top of that, they could use a legitimate number 1 wide receiver as well. But the pick is in.
Pick is in, Joe, and the New York Jets with the 4th overall selection in 2022 NFL Draft Select, Ike Ekwonu.
There you go.
There you go.
And this is
NC State.
This was my number 1 offensive lineman coming out in this draft. This kid is amazing, very versatile, and coming out of North Carolina State, strong, and he's mean. He looks to put people in the dirt. He's very mobile for his size. He can get out there. He can pull and swing to the outside and get up to that second level to block that linebacker or whoever stands in his way, which will be a mistake. But, man, if the Jets were able to add a caliber of offensive lineman like this, like Icky, and you put him at right tackle, you think about that offensive line now. Like, what have they done? Elijah Vera Tucker they drafted last year to put him at right guard. They signed a free agent to play left guard. That offensive line looks pretty stout. And then you also look at Mekhi Becton, who they drafted a couple years ago to lock down that left tackle. You would like to see Mekhi Becton, though, stay healthy for once, because that seems to be a mild concern right now for the Jets. If he can stay healthy and you keep this offensive line together, Zach Wilson's going to be really happy about that.
All right, Joe, let's go to the spinner here.
Great. Here we go.
The spinner.
Know-it-all magic ball. What do you got for us?
Know-it-all magic ball. Going to spinner. Here we go. And it is Gardner. Sauce Gardner right there. Sauce Gardner.
That makes sense.
There you go.
That's a pick.
Better. Sauce Gardner. There we go.
That's a pick that makes sense.
Man, there you go.
Finally
it is making some sense here, and I have to hit remove this time. There we go. Now I got it. I'll get it eventually as we keep going. So the spinner goes with Sauce Gardner, Joe. All right, there you go. We'll get on the path here. So next up, now the New York Giants are on the clock for the 5th overall pick. Again, Giants need help in the offensive line again. They've tried to do this with free agency, failed miserably. The Nate Solder thing, Will Hernandez even not working out very well for them. And again, Andrew Thomas starting to come around a little bit here too for them. Last year had a pretty good year, started doing better.
Yeah.
But again, when that draft happened, we were there for it. It was kind of a surprise again. You had other talented offensive linemen there, and then you hear Andrew Thomas out there who seemed like he was going to be be kind of a project guy. You don't usually with the, I think it was 4th or 5th overall pick again, go with a project guy that high. And there's other potential out there too in other picks.
Andrew Thomas, I wouldn't say I think project is the wrong term for Andrew Thomas because it wasn't like you were getting him. Not like a mid-grade, mid-level type of prospect where you're definitely gonna have to develop. He still needed some polishing up on his technique and stuff like that, and get a little stronger. But he wasn't that far off, so he was legitimized in that pick. The Giants, I feel like that was a good pick for them. And now that the Giants are here, and they have not one, but they have 2 first-round picks in this draft and picking high, so they can't miss no matter what.
Right. And, if you look at it, too, a lot of people wanted to get edge rusher. They wanted Sauce Gardner here for the New York Giants. They're one of those guys that they wanted. Again, looking for
edge
a guy,
rusher.
maybe Thibodeau here. People are interested here. You've heard that name kick around and stuff like that.
And in our draft, he's available.
He is. He's still out there. That's what I mean. Some of these guys left already.
And the other thing, too, you got to keep in mind, too, for all you Giants fans out there is you got a new regime now. New GM, brand new coaching staff, so it's going to be harder to predict what they're going to go in what direction. But nonetheless, offensive line's a need, linebackers a need, edges a need. They're all there.
It's all there, and the pick is in, Joe. So the New York Giants select with the 5th overall pick in the NFL 2022 draft. Offensive lineman from Alabama, Evan Neal. So I think Cody will be super excited about that one, too, because he saw Evan Neal going just before here to the Jets, but we have him going to the Giants, and I think that'll be a great pick for them. Again, those Alabama linemen right there, just NFL ready. You can't miss with this guy here, too, either, so I think it'll be great. New start for this regime to protect Daniel Jones, and let's see what happens with that. Now get the weapons going. You've got the line, and it's all on him now. So if he screws up himself here, then he's out. They did not pick up his 5th-year option either as well. So the new quarterback could be in the mix for them. I'd be pumped if we got Neal, he says right there. So that's what we say so far with ours. I think all the things fit right now.
Right, and Cody's also said I had them going linemen also, but I had them getting Evan Neal,
that was for the Jets.
Oh, that was for the Jets. That was for the last pick.
Yep.
But all in all, you look at this Giants team now. They're going to bring in Evan Neal, and people are like, "Wait, we have Andrew Thomas. Why would we draft Evan Neal?" Well, that's because there's been talk about Andrew Thomas moving to that right side, and a lot of people will like, "Oh, if you move him to the right side, isn't he going to be just as bad?" Well, you know what? Listen, there's all a learning curve no matter what. When you're a lineman moving from one side to another, there's a big learning curve. So now he'll be moved over to that right tackle spot to lock that down. And you bring in Evan Neal. He's not just a massive man. He's a mountain of a guy, but he's going to fit this offensive scheme perfectly because just like Buffalo Bills, where pretty much the whole regime came from, they do a power blocking scheme. So Evan Neal's going to fit really well. If he's right here for the Giants, this has to be the pick. And you really solidify this offensive line to help Daniel Jones and protect him or whatever quarterback ends up being their starter.
All right, here we go. Let's go to the spinner, Joe. They've been pretty crazy so far here. Let's see what we've got here. Now, here we go. Boom, I kicked it up. Let's go. Let's see what we get. No whammies. Is it Olavey this time?
We're going to go
Johnson.
Right out of left field.
yeah, that's going to be
There's no way
it's an offensive lineman, but that's hilarious, dude.
Wrong one, Wheel. Wrong one.
That is funny, man. So there you go. Johnson here for the New York football Giants. Imagine that, though. Imagine if that comes up and we're all going to look at it when we're watching the draft.
All I know is if
the spinner knows
that was the pick, Giants fans would literally just break everything.
Die again.
Just break everything. Anything that was closest to them, they would break. Not that he's a bad player. Not saying that. Just for that level of pick, I just don't see it.
All right, here we go. Next up, we've got the Carolina Panthers here up on the clock again. Some rumblings right now again. We're hearing that maybe again the the Panthers are interested in quarterback, they're going to go quarterback, but I don't really see that this early especially. It doesn't make sense unless they do decide to trade back, but when Joe and I were looking at this roster too, it's a pretty solid roster altogether. So we're looking at certain needs that they could have and fill that would help them out if they still stick with Sam Darnold. And then maybe they still plan for the future in the second round if they're able to get one of those quarterbacks. And possibly that Baker Mayfield still thing type of deal, maybe second day or later on after the draft, those types of guys might still be available in the mix if they want to try and pick them up later on. But I think they stick with Sam Darnold this year again just to get another full year of what they have, and then they're ready to move on after that. So, Joe, what do you think about this team?
So the other thing about the Panthers too is yes, everybody knows they still have a quarterback need because they still don't have their franchise quarterback. Sam Darnold is a nice stopgap guy. He's a guy that can get it done, get the job done, and he had a pretty good year early on before his injury. After his injury, everything kind of went downhill. But before his injury, they were winning games with Sam Darnold. So. I wouldn't kind of brush him off just yet. I know a lot of people are kind of down on Sam Darnold, but the Panthers, we all know that they've been looking. They were interested in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes and all that, and they've played with maybe entertaining a trade for Baker, just like a lot some other teams have been. But with the Panthers, with this pick, this is too high, I feel like, for them to take a quarterback. This is too high for them to take something that's necessary for the future.
I like the way you say that.
What I think they should do, and just like kind of Seattle at 9, I believe the same thing for Carolina. They should trade out of this spot if they can. Because they don't have a ton of needs. When you look at the roster defensively, they're not only very young, but they're solid all the way through every position. Not a lot of needs there. And then offensively, yes, we all know they need quarterback, but offensive line is above average. Receivers are there. The weapons are there. So they could go a lot of different ways. What's the pick?
All right, the pick for the Panthers at the 6th overall in the 2022 NFL Draft. Kayvon Thibodeau here for the Oregon Ducks. Kayvon Thibodeau there that everybody, again, went high on, not sure what he's going to do with his work ethic here. Right. He's really, his first season there, did really well. Kind of took his foot off the gas, so there's just some questions there. But again, if you look at the physicality that he has and the ability that he has, it's all right there and blows you off the charts. So just hope that you get that guy when he is in the NFL.
Well, the thing is he had a lot of off-the-field issues, so that's why for us he kind of slides a little bit, not too much, but he slides a little bit right here to the Panthers. And the Panthers, if this does happen, the Panthers have got to be ecstatic because to get a projected number 1 overall prospect to you at 6 is going to be amazing. And it's too good to kind of let it pass by. This opportunity is way too good. If this happens and they're like, it's not really a need, but holy shit, we can get Kayvon Thibodeau right now. And you pair him up with guys like Brian Burns on one side, and then you bring in Thibodeau, and then you have other guys. I mean, very young, already a very young defense that's already proven. But, man, you add another big-time diamond in the rough type of player, or not diamond in the rough, but a guy that's like a fine diamond, but able to be there and what phenomenal value. But let's see what the
spinner
know-it-all magic ball has to say about this pick.
Well, here we go. Let's go to the spinner. And
what other? We got none other than, and we're close. What? They're going Chris Olavey. Chris Olavey.
Barely right there. Wide receiver off the charts. There you go. There he is already. Wide receiver is off.
Wow.
Man, this thing is all over the place.
That's the number 1 wide receiver for the know-it-all magic ball going here.
I guess.
At 6.
Man, that is crazy.
I think that's going to be wrong too.
Yeah, it is probably is. We'll see how wrong this thing is.
All right.
All right. So, anyways, back on the clock here. The New York Giants are right there again at 7, ready to pick. So they've already picked up their offensive lineman here that we thought they could grab here. Right. Now people are thinking edge rusher. What do you think? Maybe corner. But the best corner's off the table right now, especially in our draft here. So do we go there or something like that? So
and that's something too. Is like we've heard rumors, we've heard, murmurings of the Giants are definitely going to trade James Bradbury at corner. So that would, if that does happen, and it could happen in the draft, that opens the door for possibly taking a corner with one of these high picks. Not to mention, they could go in that edge direction, that pass rusher, whatever scheme that they're going to run. And then also they do still have a need at linebacker because they lost a couple of free agents. And O-line has been addressed. Now, with the first pick for the Giants, we took an offensive lineman. I think they're good there now. And they're going to go a different direction.
All right. Well, the pick is in. And this might be a surprise for some people out there too, but we'll see how it goes. We're riding on it. And the New York Giants, with the 7th overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, select cornerback Trent McDuffie from Washington.
Yes, there you
to
go.
Fill that cornerback position again, and then maybe they will pull the trigger to day 2 on moving Bradbury. Somebody else will grab him. They got this guy right there to move into that spot for them.
True.
They save some money, and then they got a nice filler in there for them. Young, don't have to spend the money on him as well, because again, Cody knows all about it, being a Giants fan as well. The cap space that we don't even have, there is no space.
Right,
we're strangling in that money, so we got to get the hell out of it and trying to move forward here and cut the spending here.
Not to mention, you got to hit on these picks because all these prospects are going to be on the cheap for you. And you get a guy like Trent McDuffie here. A lot of people are going to be like, whoa, that's way too high for him. I'm like, I'm sorry. After the film that I've watched with Trent McDuffie, he is the most well-rounded corner who can play zone. He can play man. He comes up and tackles in run support. He's a physical corner who plays humongous. So, I mean, he's got everything that you want in a corner. And no matter what I watched of him, he just seemed to make every play. It's not like he didn't miss anything. He wasn't out of position. He's just very smart. He's always there. And just a great athlete altogether. So Trent McDuffie, I would not bat an eye at this pick right here.
Cody, I think he's talking about the Chris Olavey with the spinner here. If he goes, I just leave and go home at that point if we made that pick. There you go. And who knows though? Yeah, some of these are out of control, but you never know. They surprise you though.
And isn't that the funny part? Is that there's always head scratchers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's always head scratchers in the draft, so I can't wait for those.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. Imagine if one of the head scratchers ends up being the spinner, what the spinner called anyway.
That's right. No, magic ball. What do you got?
What do we got?
He's got
Iquanu.
Oh, Charles
Cross, offensive lineman.
And the funny thing about this is that the Giants absolutely love Charles Cross.
They do. That's right.
And that has been coming up recently in the last 24 hours. They are kind of dialed in on him. They absolutely love him. So as a right tackle prospect, and it doesn't stop there because he can also switch to left tackle, which is pretty astounding for an offensive lineman. When you can play both sides of that offensive line, that's miraculous. So Charles Cross for the magic balls
They might
pick.
be right on that though.
It could.
So
this could be for the first time in this draft. It could be right on point.
That makes sense. And just the other one. Who did they get? Was it Johnson? I think they grabbed. I can't remember who their first time the pick was for the
Giants.
Johnson.
So you drafted a guard.
Yeah,
one of the best guards, if not the best guard, and then you draft another really good right tackle.
Wow.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. But imagine that they attack the offensive line altogether. All right. So, anyways, here now moving on to the next pick. That means we've got the Atlanta Falcons here on the clock. The Atlanta Falcons. Where can you go with this one? They need a little of everything, I think, a little bit. But you look at that receiving core though, and that's what everybody really wants to stand out at and look at.
And here's the thing with Atlanta. They're picking kind of high. The most logical thing for Atlanta as well, just like with all these other teams that have a lot of needs, trade back, multiply those picks, and then you can attack several areas instead of just one every round. So Atlanta Falcons, listen, they signed Marcus Mariota in free agency. Right now, he's the starter. They also have needs at interior offensive line, wide receiver. I mean, that can't be a secret. Wide receiver, they have no wide receiver now. Now it's like the replacements are showing up to play for Atlanta Falcons. D-line and corner. So they need some help on defense, obviously, and the wide receiver. So for us, When we looked at the roster and stuff, they have some decent players on the defensive side. Yes, they could still add to that side of the ball, but offensively, we look at them like it's a gaping hole at wide receiver. It has to be a pick here. Get the best wide receiver in your eyes right here for the Atlanta Falcons.
All right.
And
so
it is from Ohio State.
Garrett Wilson.
Wilson, baby.
There you go. For Ohio State, they get their wide receiver again, and this fits the trend that the Atlanta Falcons do, too. You see, they draft Julio Jones in their first round. They get I can't even think of his name right now, but he just got in trouble for the gambling and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
They grabbed him. Calvin Ridley.
Calvin Ridley.
Again, this is that pick that they want. It's a need that they need, so there you go. It just fits perfectly for them. Get them some help offensively besides just Cordarrelle Patterson to do it all here, and I think this fits nicely in that Arthur Smith type of offense to get a weapon like this guy here along with them. I think it was a nice compliment.
And the funny thing is, Calvin Ridley, he's going to be gone from Atlanta. So you got to remember that too. It's like after he serves his suspension, he's suspended this whole season. But when he comes back, I think Atlanta's going to move on from him. I think they're going to look to trade him because he even was thinking about he has no interest to return. So Atlanta might contemplate that idea. And on top of that, when you look at their roster right now, Olamide Zaccheaus is the only legitimate receiver that's had enough experience to say, oh, well, he's their number one. You know what I mean? So this is it's got to be a no-brainer with this pick. They're picking high enough. They could probably have their choice of receiver. And why not take a guy like Garrett Wilson, who in my eyes is the best receiver coming out. Minus, I will say this as a disclaimer, Jameson Williams' injury is going to drop him some. So if he was healthy, then you could make that argument that Jameson Williams is better or the number one receiver too.
All right, let's go to Spinner. But right before we do, Cody says, I don't know how I feel about that with McDuffie. He goes a little high for him, but not a bad pick though.
I honestly don't think it's high at all. I think he's probably going to be projected most likely as the best corner after this is all said and done. I know a lot of people are excited about Sauce Gardner, but what I've noticed on tape is when Sauce Gardner plays man against receivers that can change direction extremely quickly, he struggles a little bit. So,
all right, and there it is for the Falcons. They have Wyatt.
They're going
the defensive lineman here.
It is a need.
There you
go.
It is
but
one of their needs.
Wrong player.
Yeah.
So
there you go. Man,
nice try.
This list is all over the place for the
nice try there,
for
Magic
the thing.
Ball.
Yeah,
nice
yeah, absolutely. All right, so here we go. Let's move on to our next one here, and it is the Seattle Seahawks. Hey, the Seattle Seahawks have a first-round pick, Joe.
Imagine
Holy
that.
moly. Yeah, can you believe
When's
that?
the last time that happened?
I don't know. It's been a while, right? Oh, man. And we saw a crazy thing go on in the offseason with the Seattle Seahawks with the trade of Russell Wilson. And everybody's looking at that like, why? What the hell? How could you do that? Even fans had to been just leaving. The 12th man is gone now.
Tom.
Now you guys are down to 9 men or something. I think everybody has left the building. But here you go. This is what they're left with. They got this pick here. They do have some needs. They were getting longer in the tooth a little bit on some of their defensive men. And then, again, now finally Bobby Wagner, those guys have all moved on. You still got your running backs there. You still got DK. You got Lockett on the other side. You do get that trade, so you get Noah Fant and then Drew Lock right there. So do you try and get him even another weapon, or are you working on the defense that's had problems, or offensive line like Russell Wilson has been begging for?
Right. Not to mention you look at Drew Lock is there and Geno Smith. So they re-signed Geno because obviously he knows the team, he knows the system and all that. But listen, if you're going into the season thinking that you're going to win some games with Drew Lock and Geno Smith, you got another thing coming. But yeah, they do have needs at quarterback, obviously, edge rusher, cornerback, D-tack or offensive tackle because Jesus, you know what I mean? They have needed another tackle for so long. And they also need interior offensive linemen, I would say, as well. So they could go if they actually, honestly, for being picking 9, just like we mentioned earlier in the show, this is a sweet spot for Seattle. They need to trade down. They need to multiply picks to further help this roster to get better and more competitive sooner rather than later. So they got a lot of needs, but the pick is going to be in.
The pick is in, Joe. All right, and the pick for the 9th overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks are lucky enough to go offensive lineman here again, and it is Chris Cross here for
Charles
Cross. Sorry, for Mississippi State.
Yeah, and with the magic ball taken with the second Giants pick,
yes,
he wouldn't be there. But in our draft, he's still there, and what a phenomenal pick this would be for them. If they have to stay in this spot, we already know that they probably are entertaining calls right now to in hopes of moving out. But if they have to be locked in, this is a phenomenal pick. And if he's there, oh my God,
you
got to jump on
it. Absolutely. Again, it fits the need, and it's great value for where it is there as well for them. All right, so let's go to the spinner. Let's see what the magic spinner says. And do they go offensive line here, dude? Is it going to be offensive line for them? And let's take a look at it. Still a lot of big names out there, too, Joe.
They're going Devin Lloyd.
They're going to go Devin Lloyd.
They're going linebacker.
Linebacker.
They're going to replace Bobby Wagner.
Dude, there's a rush on the linebackers. yeah. There you go. There's a rush on the linebackers. Watch out. Here
Bobby Wagner out. Devin Lloyd in. According to the magic ball.
Magic ball. 2 linemen off the board in the top 10.
I know,
or 2
right?
linebackers off the board in the top 10. Can you believe that? Holy moly, Joe.
It's crazy.
All right.
It's crazy.
All right, and we're coming back around. So now we've got the New York Jets are going to be back on the clock here, Joe. The Jets are back on the clock.
They got a lot of picks.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Jets, when we took at them first, they got Ike Ekwonu here, which was a great move for them, too, on the offensive line to help them out, to help Zach Wilson, to see how he can develop this year. What's another need for them? You know, you look at maybe some more wide receiver here, or on the defensive side now too as well. Help that Robert Saleh defense that's been kind of struggling there.
That's the thing, they have a lot more needs on the defensive side now than they do offensively. You know, with them taking what is going to play right tackle in Ike Ekwonu, that kind of locks up that offensive line now. Now Zach Wilson can have a sigh of relief a little bit here and know that he's going to be protected and protected well. But they also do need wide receivers still. That's still a big need. They still need that consummate number one. Because they do have, Corey Davis, who a lot of people like to make jokes about. But honestly, Corey Davis had a really solid year last year. So was productive. And they do have Evan Moore. Right? Am I saying his name right? I think so.
Elijah Moore.
Yeah. Elijah Moore, who actually overtook the position that Jamison Crowder once had, and has done it really well late last season. So now you turn your focus. Now it's almost got to be defensive now. A defensive pick with this one. They do have a need at linebacker as well. So corner, linebacker, and receiver are still on the table for needs. But the pick is in.
The pick is in now for the New York Jets with their 10th overall pick.
Joe Douglas, don't screw it up.
2002 NFL Draft. The New York Jets select cornerback Derek Stingley Jr. from LSU.
And the Jets fans are going wild.
There we go. I got the cheering going. I have the cheering thing, but I just too many buttons.
Or they're booing.
Or they're booing, maybe.
Because they like to do that.
You know what? They look at each other, and then they're like, yeah.
They're like, have you heard the name
before?
before?
I don't know who that is.
Have you heard it before? No,
Yeah,
I haven't heard it before.
Boo! We don't know. Yeah.
Boo!
That's one common thing you two
But, man,
see.
I'll tell you right now, a lot of people are down on Derek Stingley Jr. right now, the cornerback from LSU, and everyone's pointing their fingers and say, oh, well, he wasn't productive, for 2 straight seasons. His third, if you go back three seasons, that was his best outing. It was his first time out there as a starter and just kind of took over games. Nobody could throw the ball on Derek Stingley Jr. then. And then, you forward it to his second year, he kind of struggled, off and on, had his ups and downs, but not like necessarily a bad year, just kind of like subpar. And then people wondered why the production dropped off. And then obviously we all know the major injury that he went through in his third year, kind of missed a lot of time, was in and out of the lineup, mostly out of the lineup. And then he also, and here's the other aspect of the LSU team, is that he also lost his head coach. Dave Orgeron left LSU. There was like a scandal going on. He had to get out of there, but that does affect the players. It affects college players more so than it does, your players in the NFL. They're veterans at that point. They understand the business, but players, it might affect a little bit more their emotions and everything. So I wonder, I really do love Derek Stingley Jr. And for me, the only reason why he wasn't my number one corner was because a lot has transpired and you didn't see that production leading in, as he was about to leave the college of LSU to go into the draft. And that's what you like to see. A lot of teams have also agreed. They're like, he had this injury. We're not really sure how he's going to come back from it. Plus, we didn't see enough production late as he got ready for the draft. So there's some concern there, like how is he going to return from the injury? How is he going to return and get better? But I think this is going to be good for Derek Stingley Jr. because I feel like with everybody that has been pointing the finger at him and saying we don't think he's that good, we haven't seen enough production, I think he's going to come back with a chip on his shoulder. Whatever team does draft him, he's going to come back with a chip on his shoulder. He's going to come back very determined and ready to attack this game that he loves. So I think that this would be a great pick. I definitely think he has the potential to be the number one overall corner in this draft very easily. So very physical, very aggressive, and his first year as a starter there at LSU, he wasn't giving up hardly any catches, nothing. So you got to like the potential there, but there is a little bit of risk that comes along with him.
All right, here, let's go to the spinner, Joe. Let's see what the spinner has to say. And let's let it go roll. It's been pretty crazy so
with this
far.
damn thing.
I know it's funny because there are a lot of big names out there still, so I don't see people avoiding them. And there it is, finally. Aiden Hutchinson finally goes here
all the way.
Imagine that the Jets would go ecstatic again here.
Yeah,
the Jets get their second pick.
We all know that
this will never happen. Yeah, there you go. But there you go. It's the Jets' wet dream here to get these picks here for them.
Next.
So there we go. Moving on to the next one. We have a team that has a name finally now, Joe. It's not no longer the Washington football team. It is the Washington Commanders. So there you go. There's the big old W. They noticed that what they did with their logo. It's very amazing with the change that they did with their logo.
I know, it's amazing,
you
right?
See those slanted lines they put in there? I mean, that just says Commanders all together right there. That just sums it all up, right? It's very awesome. When they did the unveiling in New Jerseys, I was just blown away. Well, anyways, Cody's there. He says,
Jerseys
good luck with the rest of the show. He's going to head out. He's got a migraine. Sorry,
right,
Cody. That sucks. But if you guys didn't know, though, but we are also on Spotify and many other podcasts and Google Podcasts too as well. So if you can't finish the rest of the show, you can listen to us on any podcast. Just go search
anywhere you get
the No Show and subscribe to us on those, or watch us again too. You get to see the graphics and our beautiful faces here on YouTube and on Facebook too. Join our Facebook group as well. So there you go. The Washington football team. See, I said it right there. Washington Commanders now.
Commanders.
Joe, they go with Carson Wentz now as their quarterback. Move on.
Yeah, they move on from him.
And hopefully they get a healthy defense here, too, because that defense took a step back, but then also you had injuries that had plagued them, too, as well.
Yeah.
So what do you think they do and they focus on here for them? Is it going to be on the offensive side of the ball, get even Carson Wentz a few more weapons to complement with Terry McLaurin, or do you think they go on the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, Carson Wentz is sent out packing. He's now with the Colts. Or no, he's not with the Colts. He went and left the Colts.
He left the Colts to
came
them.
to Washington.
Yes.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And then we looked at their defense. The defense is actually really solid. There's not really any weaknesses there. Last year, everyone listen, I thought the same thing. I thought Washington last year was going to come in and their defense was going to decimate offenses. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Chase Young and Montez Sweat were going to get after it. And don't forget the D tackles. You got Deron Payne, who's in the middle there, and probably one of the best D tackles that doesn't get talked about enough. But they did also lose Matt Ioannidis in that D tackle rotation, what I think is going to hurt them a little bit, but not enough to say they're not going to get better. But what you look at now with the Commanders, now that they do have Wentz, and that's the decision they've made. They decided to go with Wentz as their starter. You got to wonder, this is also a spot where maybe, possibly, this is where maybe the first quarterback could go, so that way they can groom him and develop that quarterback for the future. But also they do have a need at linebacker. They also have a need at interior offensive line. But then again, when you're picking right here, like you got to go for best available, man. You got to go do what's right. So the Washington Commanders are going to go with the pick is in. Go ahead.
The pick is in. The pick is in.
Hit it up.
All right, so here we go. The pick is in for them, and it is Dax Hill from Michigan, the safety. So they go on the safety position again. Landon Collins, they're done with Landon Collins in that too as well. So I think that would help them out in that position too. Fill that spot again where you're going to a young guy that's fully capable, one of the best safeties here in this draft, and you don't really lose anything by getting rid of Landon Collins down, having that, only saving money, So I think it works out for him to help that defense. Now they're even a little scarier, hopefully, that they were like 2 years ago.
Well, there's a reason why they moved on from Landon Collins. He just wasn't working out with the way that they want to shift coverages. They wanted a safety that could actually man up, and Landon Collins is not that. He's more of an in-the-box safety that comes down and does run support. So with this pick, I mean, not only is this worth the pick here, but a lot of people aren't going to look at this right now and say, and they're going to be like, safety? What do you mean they take safety? And why isn't Kyle Hamilton picked here? Because that's the consensus number one safety. But I got news for you. Dax Hill is my number one safety because Dax Hill, to me, does everything extremely well. Better than Kyle Hamilton. That's right.
Doing it.
He can play man-to-man. He can play in
well.
the zone. He's a phenomenal tackler. He comes up and punches you right in the mouth and lays you down on the ground. So Dax Hill, for me, from Michigan, is the best safety coming out. And the Washington Commanders might surprise some people when they do, in fact, take Dax Hill.
Lady Bill says she agrees with you here about the backup quarterback situation here for the Washington Commanders. See, it's gonna be tough for me to get into that.
You'll get there.
I'll get there.
We'll get there by the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely by the end of the season. There we go. Going into the spinner.
Oh boy,
Thibodeau's still out there. Trayvon Walker's still out there too, Joe. Oh wait, there he goes. Oh,
Washington
it's gonna be
is
Book
gonna
Jr.
go. Oh, it was so close to Dax Hill.
It was
so
right
close.
there. Imagine that.
Come on.
So there you go. So they're gonna go a cornerback here.
False.
Yes. No. The magic.
False.
This spinner is just—it's not getting it. It's not doing it. Not doing it.
I think it
cannot
just
get
keeps
down.
drinking.
It is really
it's
random.
Just random.
So, yeah, I tell you what though, I would put whatever they're picking. I just put it into one of those competitions, just to see what happens if I get something out of it. Imagine that, right? It's like the people do those randomizers to pick lotto ball, numbers and stuff like that. Yeah. So it could end up, being a big winner for you. All right, so next after the Commanders here, the 12th selection, we have the Minnesota Vikings here on the clock now, Joe. The Minnesota Vikings. Mm-hmm. All right. They are a mysterious team for me. You know what I mean? It's because you look at them and you're kind of like, they can do enough to get in the playoffs, but then they're not. They're still working on that Kirk Cousins thing. Mm-hmm. They gave them all that money, didn't get them where they were supposed to with that deal. Mm-hmm. Because they did move on from Case Keenum to get him to where they were going to go, and they haven't been back to the NFC Championship game since Case Keenum.
Right.
Since then. They've moved on and traded Stephon Diggs too as well.
Yep.
And so a lot of different moves. Some of the defensive older guys are moved on to. So there are some vacancies to fill, and now a new coaching regime and a general manager spot here for this team. Where do you think these guys are going to go?
And just like you mentioned, a new regime altogether, and that's what's going to make this tricky because now the offensive and defensive philosophies change. Their schemes are going to change. And so you don't know where their tendencies are gonna lie. So the way we looked at their needs, and it looks like they need interior offensive line, they need corner, they need edge. You know what I mean? To kind of rekindle that Minnesota Vikings defense. But all in all, the Vikings are going to take. Can I get a little bell here?
Sure, I can give you the bell. Why not?
What do they got?
The Vikings are going to select with the 12th overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, safety Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame.
And this would be this would be good value. It would fit this team if with the the way they recently would draft. Listen, they don't have their guys anymore on that back end. Harrison Smith is always out of the lineup more than he is on the field now, as he gets a little older now. And that's got to be concerning. They need a playmaker. They need someone that they can plug and play right now at that safety position. And I just feel like we both feel like this has got to be it, right? If Kyle Hamilton does slide, and a lot of the consensus has him being picked much higher than what we do. But if he does slide, now I know some people are like, oh, well, his 40 time wasn't that fast, but he's a very big safety. So you can't expect that kind of speed, like a 4.5, 4.4 speed. He ran a 4.6, not slow, but not fast either. And I feel like he'll fit really well with this new rekindled, like this new defense that they're going to implement. So Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame, one of the better safeties coming out. And the other thing I'll say about him is he's phenomenal in zone. Phenomenal. He's going to struggle a little bit on man. But if they do more of a zone concept defense, he'll fit right in.
All right. Evan Neal is
right.
still out
so
there.
Close.
Look at that.
So close to one away from
so
Kyle Hamilton again.
Kyle Hamilton again. Look at it. It's getting
one
there.
Away.
It's getting there. But, man, for this guy to drop this far again, that's blasphemous. This damn
I hate
this damn wheel. Damn wheel's drunk. All right, here we go. All right, so
Jesus,
let's move
take
on.
the wheel.
Yep, to the next pick, and the Houston Texans are going to be back on the clock, Joe. Houston,
again.
We have a
and
problem.
Yeah, it's us.
Yes. Now, again, speculation. What do? Do they go for some weapons? Are they really entrusting in Davis Mills like they say they are? Are people saying maybe they try and go for a quarterback here?
It's possible.
Do they help out the defense? Are they trusting that offensive line that they now? I know they made that trade a few years back here, got Laramie Tunsil there to try and secure that offensive line. But what do you think they do here for the Texans?
No matter what they pick, it's going to be a good one because they need everything. And as far as Davis Mills goes, they absolutely love him. That's probably the reason why they didn't want a quarterback in return for Deshaun Watson, is because they said they were comfortable with him. Listen, for people that didn't follow the Texans, you know what I mean? Like, if you watch some of their games and watch Davis Mills as a starter, he played amazingly for a rookie to come in and not only have the spotlight on him and being able to produce on the football field and winning some games. You know what I mean? Absolute shootouts between other teams. So he definitely has the confidence from the organization in him. So I feel like they're comfortable with giving him a shot to be the franchise quarterback. And with that being said, you could see Houston go any other direction other than quarterback with this pick, and it's going to make this team better.
All right, we've got Mike Tackett in the house with us tonight.
What's going on, Mike?
He says, happy draft eve, guys. Absolutely,
yes,
absolutely. Yes. We're doing our mock draft, Mike. It's good to have you
Thanks
in here.
Thanks for tuning in.
Let us know, too, what you think. We love your input here, too, with who you think they might be going. But right now, we were talking about the Texans with their second pick to come back over here at pick 13. The pick is in. And we see the Houston Texans now with the way the draft is lined up for us. Getting a decent shot here now at defensive line, Jordan Davis of Georgia here, going here at 13th overall in the 2022 NFL draft.
Yeah, you think about Vince Wilfork, right? And when he was with the Patriots, then he ended his career in Houston. Now they're going to get a guy similar to him, but way more athletic, he has way more speed too. Like he's an absolute monster of a guy who's now he's 350 pounds. Everybody, but ran a 4.8 40, like 4.9 4.8 40. For that kind of a size of a guy or a prospect is tremendous. It's absolutely amazing. Super strong, is extremely athletic. He is a freak of a man to play that big of a prospect, to be able to move like he does is gonna. And this is gonna be great if this absolutely happens for Houston. They're gonna get a player that's gonna plug and play right now, and also Think about how DJ Reader left. He went to the Bengals. That was a big hole that they lost, that D tackle. Now you feel it with Jordan Davis. It's a great pick, good value, and keep going, Houston. You're on the right path.
Mike says, how about a full lottery draft where teams are on the clock as soon as they're drawn? Could you imagine waiting for your team to be randomly picked to draft someone and only having 10 minutes to decide?
Oh, that'd be insane.
That would be insane.
Not to mention, 10 minutes is not enough for them to
do it now.
To
when
talk
they have
to
a
each other.
plan, right?
You know what I mean? For trades or something. Like, hey, guys, I got the 4th overall pick.
Right
you
now.
want it? What do you want for it? Time's up. Oh, shit.
Now, is it a lottery now, too, with where your record gives you more balls in the lottery, you would think?
Like the
sort of
NBA.
Like the NBA or something like that. You know, that would make sense, too. But then again, people might still thinking that it's fixed at one point, too, the way they do it with the NFL, too, as well. But I don't know. You know, people think the lottery's fixed, though, too, Joe, even when the air pops the balls up and picks the number and stuff like that. So everybody thinks everything's fixed, yet there's legalized sports gambling, which I don't freaking get. If it's all fixed, you guys are gambling on it. So have fun with that, morons. So anyways, we got the spinner, Joe. The spinner of death, I'm going to call it now. The spinner of death.
That's more
it
like
is killing teams here right now because they are reaching hard, something severe in this one. All right, so we've got the Texans for their second pick at 13th overall.
What does the
Jordan
wheel have
Davis
take?
already off the thing for him, but there we go. Is that Drake London? Drake London, wide receiver for them to complement there with Brandon Cooks on the other side. So who knows?
And Nico Collins.
Yep. So that might be
that
good.
Makes
for them.
sense too.
There you go. And he
like
could
we
be
said,
there. You know, he'll be there at this position here. So I don't know if they would go for him in that.
Like
spot,
we said before, they could pick anything, and it's going to be good.
Yeah, anything is just better than what they have right now. Absolutely. But let me tell you, dude, we're almost halfway through this thing right now. But I think there you go. No. Mike Tackett knows what we're talking about. He goes, you know what's not fixed? The great prices at Mohawk Honda. He knows. He even knows when the commercials are going to go in. This is how much of a know-it-all this guy is. He just knows us because I'm about to tell you.
He's in tune
about my friends from Mohawk Honda. That's right. Mohawk Honda, Freeman's Bridge Road. If you guys aren't from upstate New York, I'm sorry because these guys, this is an amazing auto group to work with and be around. They really treat you like family, and they do so much for the community. I know Lady Bills probably knows who they are, too. There's a competitor of Lady Bills, though, right now. But Mohawk Honda, Freeman's Bridge Road, where they go out of their way to please you. It is springtime. They're still doing the Kelly Blue Book instant cash offer. So basically, if you're going to trade your car in, they'll give you exactly what the Kelly Blue Book
money on the spot
says right there. Sign you the check or trade it in on a lovely brand new Honda from Mohawk Honda or, a used one right there. But, they're great because they take care of them, too, do the whole million points inspection and all that stuff, and they make you feel good because even after you walk out of there, they're calling you too. Hey, how you doing? How's the ride? You feeling good? Everything, blah, blah, blah. And it's taking care of you afterwards. They go through that whole extra step, and they just recently did the pet adoption clinic, and it was on April 24th this past weekend. Mike Tackett, he left his girlfriend at home. He did not bring her in or whatever to trade her in, but I saw a lot of animals, dude. Again, you follow them on the social media. They're there on Facebook. Check them out on Facebook, Twitter. They posted all the animals that got adopted, too, as well, along with cars. They do it when you buy a car as well. Get pictures taken with you like a big family. Mohawk Honda, where they go out of their way to please you. That's right, Joe.
Excellent.
All right.
Good job.
Yeah, I did it. All right, so next up, moving on to the next pick. Who's next here? We've got the Baltimore Ravens are on the clock, Joe. All right, so what do you see the Ravens doing for these ones here? The Ravens.
And the Ravens, they got a few needs.
No.
Now, this is a team that doesn't have a lot of needs,
but
they're picking higher in this draft because a lot of injuries that they had to deal with last season. You know what I mean? So that led to the little bit of a decline in terms of the record, but they don't have a ton of needs. So this is a great value pick for them. They're going to get a stud here. They could go corner. They could go D-line. They could go anything. I mean, you got to pick best available here. If you're the Ravens, I mean, this is like it's like Christmas all over again for them.
Right.
They're going to grab another stud player, and keep pushing for that playoff run.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Like you said, we'll get into the depth that they had. We see them going in with this position here just to add some of that extra depth. And it seems like a Ravens thing to do. Like every time when you talk about the Ravens, you think about that tough defense. So
somebody slides to them and they just happen to
exactly.
capitalize
And the
on
way
it.
our draft has been going here with the 14th overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select linebacker Devin Lloyd from Utah. There you go. So Devin Lloyd
Great pick.
drops right here to them. It's a great pick here, value pick for them. Fills a little bit of a need. They, like we said, they don't really have needs, so to add to this defense here will help them out. I think it's a great move for the Baltimore Ravens, and it's a great compliment to this defense here.
Yeah, they still have a need at corner, but at the same time, like the value for Devin Lloyd, if he's here for the Ravens, it's almost like a Raven thing to do. They draft linebackers and they draft D linemen, and they just make their front seven, ridiculously good. You know what I mean? So the Ravens a very aggressive defense, so this kind of fits the bill. If Devin Lloyd is there for them, they got to jump on this. They got to bring him in, and he's going to be a day one starter for them as well.
All right, Lady Bill's in the house. She says she does know who Mohawk Honda is. She doesn't sell cars anymore. She switched to RVs. All right, excellent. There you go.
Change of pace.
Yeah, check
it
out.
But Devin Lloyd, the pick for the Ravens, great linebacker. He's my number one. And a lot of people will point to the fact that he doesn't have long speed, not super fast. But, man, is he smart, phenomenal against the run, great tackler, and he's always around the ball. So, I mean, those are nice attributes if you're a linebacker. There he goes to the Ravens.
All right, here we go. Let's look at the spinner
great.
here,
Here we
Joe.
go.
The spinner of death, the not-so-know-it-all magic ball. How about that? All right, here we go. Hey, Thibodeau's still out there, and a bunch of guys are out there.
He's
How about
dropping
that?
like a rock in
Right?
terms of-
Hamilton, Stingley Jr.,
there
Stingley
you go.
Jr. to
That is
the
a need.
Baltimore Ravens right there. That's
could-
really nice.
That might
There you
happen.
go.
It might happen. Maybe Stingley does fall to Baltimore
Stays
right there,
in
and
the purple too.
they
I
take
like
a
it.
chance there. Wow, that would be tremendous for the Ravens.
Yeah, that would be a nice move for them. And it'd be nice if he slid that far for them, so it'd be a nice pick. All right, so now moving on, we've got the Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles are now on the clock here, Joe. Where do you think the Eagles might go here? Another weapon to help out with Jalen Hurts to get him going again, or because it's kind of weird, too. It seemed like they really went away from that running game early on last season, but then tried to come back to it late in the season. So
I don't
they're a
know.
weird kind of run offense. Sirianni, it's hard to read with that guy.
I don't like his offense. I mean, point blank, I didn't think he was the right guy for the Eagles when they hired him. And offensively, it's lackluster. You don't see the production in that offense, and people are going to point the finger. Oh, well, it's Jalen Hurts, or it's they don't have enough weapons, or their offensive line is always hurt. Well, that might be the case, but it's just got to be more explosive. And as far as the run game goes, I just never saw that take off ever. No matter who they had at running back, it just wasn't going anywhere. They definitely need to get Miles Sanders in the receiving game more. And that seemed to open up the playbook for the Eagles. If they continue to do that, they'll get much better. But for the Eagles at this pick, and they have a couple of picks in this first round, they could go any way. They could help out Hurts a little bit more. They definitely could take another receiver to bolster this receiving core, or they could go defense altogether. Add another corner, add another linebacker, add another safety. But none other. What do we have for them?
Yeah, that's the thing, is we looked at the ads that they did, some needs that they filled on defense. So we didn't look in the defensive situation here because they did bring Hassan Reddick in there as well. So for the 14th or 15th now overall pick in the 2002 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select wide receiver Drake London out of USC. So Drake London falls here to the Eagles, and they select a wide receiver now to go on the opposite side here of Devonta Smith. And now Jalen Reagor is also there as well. And you've got all these mix of other guys. So some of these other guys are going to find themselves off the team or just further down in the depth chart here. Guys that they've had for a while, Greg Ward, who was like kind of a silent little kind of guy.
He's
for
a
them.
good player.
Even a few years ago had
Good
a
player.
better spot for him. And Arcega Whiteside, who ended up being
He's going to probably be
miss
cut.
for him. So
I'm going to be honest. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside has not, fit the bill.
Yes.
There's a reason why they drafted him where they drafted him, hoping that they could develop him to be at least a starting slot type of wide receiver, and he's failed to do so. So they could keep him on the roster as like one of those rotational pieces or just a guy that's there for depth. But everybody's going to trickle down. Everyone's going to slide down on that depth chart. Jalen Reagor's going to kick inside, I feel like, at slot. You put Drake London on the, at the number 2 spot, and then you have Devontae Smith opposite him. That is a nice, young, really young wide receiving core that Jalen Hurts can grow with and mature with as a quarterback. And Drake London could be a savior for Jalen Hurts, because you look at that receiving core, they're all freaking short.
They're
all
That's
short.
What I mean.
There's
it's a
like
nice mix with them.
there's really no red zone threat other than Devonta Smith just beating you deep in terms of height and size. Well, Drake London gives them that. A massive wide receiver, 6'4", 220 pounds, runs a 4.5 40. Now, this is something that is a little bit of a concern for some teams, is that in college, he just outmanned everybody because of his size, because of his cutting ability. He just out physicaled them. He just beat them in the jump balls and everything. The little bit of concern is, coming into the NFL, you're not going to really get away with too much. These corners, these safeties are way better in the NFL, to where they're going to be right on you. And unless you can get separation, which is kind of what he struggled with at times in college, now you're coming to the big stage. If they can utilize him the right way to create plays to get him open, he's a big man with the ball in his hands after the catch. So something that they can improve on.
It'd be nice and dangerous with these guys. I think that would be a nice fill-in for that wide receiving core. Absolutely. Like when you talk about the height, or how they have shorter guys too, to mix this guy in there, that would be a nice.
But for Drake London, it would also be a good thing for the Eagles, because now you have a legitimate red zone threat, other than your tight end in Dallas Goedert. So this pick makes the most sense to us.
All right. What doesn't make sense is the wheel of death here. Here you go.
Not at all.
Here you go. Thibodeau's still out there again, too. Oh, man. Here we go. And Trayvon Walker's still out there, too. Here, wait, Johnson. No.
This is a reach.
There you go. There you go. Offensive lineman.
Something they don't need.
Yeah, they don't need. There's another reach.
They could use it, but it doesn't make any sense.
Wow,
We're moving on.
No sense whatsoever. All right, here we go. Moving on to the next one. The New Orleans Saints here have the pick. They are on the clock here at the 16th overall pick. We're halfway through. The Saints, a lot of guys, again, talking about maybe the Saints want to get a quarterback here. People are drawing lines because, I don't know, they try and see these types of things, parallels. And now they want to say Kenny Pickett's going to go to the Saints just because he's another smaller guy. They believed in a guy like Drew Brees, shorter, small hands, like type of deal. Maybe he would fit that same type of mold. I don't know so much that they go with here, because, again, they've got Jameis Winston there. They still have Hill there, too, as well, Taysom Hill's not a quarterback. They're not the future, but they can get them where they need to go right here this season, preparing for their next step, I think. That's the way these Saints roll, I think. I don't think they're going to be jumping on the first, for reaching for these guys in the first round to go for one of those quarterbacks. So I think they want to get something else to help have them success here with this team other than quarterback.
They won't be doing much without Sean Payton. I mean, that's a big loss. So, I mean, now you have Dennis Allen taking over as the head coach. He's a defensive-minded coach, doesn't really know offense that well. You might see a guy like Winston, now that he's re-signed, he might struggle with this offense, regardless of what they do to help out on that offensive side of the ball. But quarterback is still is a possibility here, and I don't think it would be that much of a reach. For Kenny Pickett, the only question I have about him, I think he's the most NFL game-ready week one type of quarterback coming out. But, again, those hands, the size of the hands concern me. And if you're going to any team, it's got to be an indoor team for him. So at least halfway through the year, it can kind of help with that little bit of an issue.
Mike Tackett here says, Drake London reminds me of Keyshawn Johnson, when he's talking about our Drake London pick there.
Okay.
And then he says, Malik Willis is a second-round talent. There, I said it. Boom, he dropped the mic. There you go.
But for the Saints, they could go quarterback. It's a possibility, but they also, another big need is wide receiver, and that's something that they've been struggling with for a couple of years now. So do they address it this year? It's a possibility. There's a lot of potential right here in this draft, not to mention they do still need offensive line help as well.
All right, Joe. Well, the pick is in, and the New Orleans Saints with the 16th overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft select wide receiver Chris Olavey here. So again, they get another wide receiver to complement the guys that they have now, because again, Mike Thomas, suffering from that injury, didn't have him all of last year. Michael Thomas missed it and all that problems. Callaway seemed like he was starting to come around, but again, they didn't really have that guy. They really couldn't find their dude. So I think when they go and get a guy like this, Chris Olave, along with them, I think Jameis Winston will pair up nice with this guy, and that'll help them out right there in this spot.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, you got the value here too. So it not only fills a need, but it also fills that value right here with this pick. So it's going to be hard to turn away if you got a receiver of this caliber falling to you right here, and he's ready to go. And not to mention, like Jim was mentioning, is Winston is great at throwing the deep ball. And what is Chris Olave good at? Getting open deep. So with his blazing speed, and you pair him up with Winston, it could be a match made in heaven here. Then you got Michael Thomas returning this year. So now you have at least two decent receivers to throw to, and then you got your depth pieces in Traquan Smith and so forth. But again, there's no telling what the Saints are going to do. But we hope that they go with the receiver right here at this
Who knows?
pick.
Again, like you said, when you got Dennis Allen there, who knows? He's just that defensive-minded type of guy. He just goes defense no matter what. You never know. We've seen guys do things like that. Mike Tacasso says that's very realistic. The Saints love their Ohio State players. There you go. So we'll see. I don't know. Right now, I think we're doing better than this stupid wheel, though. This wheel just sucks.
Yeah, absolutely.
But here we go. A lot of good players out here on the wheel. Here we go. They'll spin in the wheel. And for the Saints, they're going to land somebody really good, though, too, here, right? No, they're going wide receiver anyways.
They're going wide receiver. Right position, wrong player.
Boom, there you go. So there, the wheel goes with wide receiver. It's just not the wide receiver that we selected. All right. Looking at number 17, Joe, we've got the Los Angeles Chargers here. Los Angeles Chargers. All right, where do you think they're going to go here for these guys, Joe? They've got that same wide receiver core there, staying together, gelling. Keenan Allen, Michael Williams. That team that kind of like did really well, and when you kind of got behind them, they kind of faltered on you. They had that hot spell. You were like, oh, this is the upcoming team. You better watch out for them, and then just couldn't get it done. So what do you think they need to do here for this pick to propel them forward?
So they can go a few different routes here. Like they could take right tackle because they lost Brian Bulaga. He's gone. But there's a little bit of a sense around the Chargers organization that they really do like the backup that kind of filled in Storm Norton. Did a really good job when they played the Raiders, kind of locked it down on that side. So they might give him an opportunity to start at that right tackle position. So I'm not really sure if they're going to go offensive line with this pick. And they could go corner to kind of bolster that defensive backfield, but they also could go wide receiver. There's a lot of different ways that they could go. I think it's going to be more on defense than it is going to be on offense with this pick to fill that out. But who knows? They could go wide receiver as well.
All right, well, now we will find out, Joe, in our mock draft for the 2022 NFL Draft. At the 17th overall pick, the Los Angeles Chargers select center Tyler Linderbaum from Iowa here. So they go and solidify that center position here to help out on that offensive line and protect their quarterback. That's they really need to do.
Right, and this is a prospect that everybody is drooling over as far as the center position. So for the Chargers to get him where they got him, I think this is going to be a great value pick. And not to mention, if it is going to fill a need because one of the Pouncey brothers that they used to have retired. So why not further protect your quarterback?
Right now, they just got Corey Linsley right there too, and he's getting older.
Why not protect your quarterback with Justin Herbert, and they already have weapons. Just further give that protection, and a guy that's going to be there for the next 10 years. An easy, a blue chip type of center, does everything extremely well, and a lot of people compare him to like a Jason Kelce. So high praise for him coming into the NFL. I think this would be a great pick for the Chargers if they were to get him here at this spot. And there's no worries after that point. You know, they don't have a lot of needs on the defense. They still could take corner here, but center we think is the most logical pick here.
All right, here we go. Let's see what the Wheel of Death says here for the Chargers. And
I like how we changed the name to Wheel of Death now.
Look at that. They go Jameson Williams here. Jameson Williams here out of Alabama. There it is.
Yeah.
Wow, wide receiver. Imagine that.
That could happen.
Imagine that, adding him to that,
And
wide receiving corps.
And you know something interesting about that populated that pick there for them is that Jameson Williams doesn't need to be thrust into the lineup because he is coming back from that major injury, and that's why he kind of is sliding in our mock draft. And listen,
that's true.
I
haven't seen him in ours yet.
I think it's the most ridiculous thing every year when a guy is coming back from an injury, even if it's a common injury like an ACL, and everyone's like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to use my pick on this guy," even though if he was healthy, everybody would be tripping over themselves to get him. But because he's injured and he's still coming back, they're like, no, we're going to pump the brakes. We're going to go in a different direction. That, to me, is just crazy. So, Jameson Williams, actually makes sense. If the Chargers are sitting here and he is available and they do decide to go this route, it's not so far-fetched because now he doesn't have to play. He doesn't have to play right away. They could absolutely make sure that he's 100% healthy before they put him on the football field, and they got themselves a stud with this pick for the next 10 years.
All right, and now the Eagles are back on the clock again, Joe. We had them
again?
Going. Yep,
Jesus.
had them going wide receiver here last time. Drake London out of USC. Now for the Eagles, again, we looked at situations that they had. We thought maybe on the defensive side of the ball now they need a little more help, especially in the middle area.
Now they get another chance to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll go right into it. The Eagles now with the 18th overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. They select Leo Chanel from
linebacker,
linebacker from Wisconsin. There you go.
Leo Chanel, man, he's a menacing man, and a lot of people could have him ranked as basically the number one linebacker coming out. There's that kind of argument where he is faster than Devin Lloyd. He is just as good at defending the run and pursuing and making phenomenal tackles. But the only thing that you might need to work on with him is his coverage skills. That needs further development. But if you're talking flat-out football player, he's truly amazing. And if he's here for the Eagles, I think it's a no-brainer here. You can't pass this up. If he's still here for the Eagles, you got to take Leo Chanel from Wisconsin.
All right, let's go to the spinner and
let's see what
says.
The Wheel of Death says.
The Wheel of Death. Here we go. And we're going to go to
none other than a corner.
McCreary. There you go. There you go. A corner.
A corner for the Eagles.
So they're going to go a corner. I forget who they picked last time for him, but
it makes sense.
There you go. Let's just do it. Whatever they can do. It's the Eagles. So
we're getting down there.
Yeah, we are. And then funny that again,
Kayvon
somebody's
Thibodeau's
bigger
still
still there.
The biggest surprise of the draft.
Trayvon Walker still there too.
The biggest surprises of the draft are the guys that are picked in the top 10 normally are still available.
Who knows? Maybe all of a sudden a bunch of weed videos came out for these guys during the draft, and the wheel knows all. Who knows? They see them dropping. Who knows? All right, here we go. So next up on the clock after the Eagles, it ends up being the New Orleans Saints again. The Saints are back on it.
Look at this.
Again, that's right. The Saints.
With the first pick that the Saints had, they go wide receiver and Chris Olavey, which makes all the sense in the world if he's there for them. Now they come back. What are they going to go with this time? Is it going to be more defense help? Is it going to be more offensive help? What do we got?
All right. Well, I think you hit the nail on the coffin here, or the head on the nail, or the nail on the head, or whatever it is with a hammer.
Whatever it's called.
The Saints, with the 19th overall selection in 2022 NFL Draft, select defensive lineman Travis Jones out of Connecticut.
There you go.
So there you go. Again,
plug-and-play type of D-tackle, a guy that's kind of been rising up the draft boards as we get closer to the draft. D-tackle out of UConn. Connecticut. So, I mean, didn't get a lot of exposure because of where he was playing. But, man, he looks the part. And this is a need that the Saints, in fact, do have. They've been missing out on talent over the last couple of seasons due to free agency, guys leaving and what have you. Sheldon Rankins, who was their premier D tackle, ended up getting hurt with a neck injury. They let him walk, so he's gone. So they definitely need some help in that area. And here you pick with their second first-round pick here. They go D tackle Travis Jones, and it makes all the sense in the world.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, guys, let us know out there, too, who you have for your picks. Let us know in the comment section. Joe,
definitely.
Why don't you tell everybody about our friends here at Johnstone Supply here? It's getting warmer now. Finally, we get spring.
It is. It's getting warmer. It is what it is.
Finally.
But listen, in the Northeast, we have this company here, Johnstone Supply in Troy. Listen, it's never too late to start thinking about how to stay cool in the summer months up ahead. It is starting to get warmer here. But even if you're still in the cold areas, listen, Johnstone Supply is the place to go. Call now for pre-summer pricing on John Goodman Central Air Conditioners, or if you're looking to go with Fujitsu mini splits, they've got them too. And if you're a homeowner that's mulling your options and want to get hooked up with a local contractor, call Johnstone Supply, and they've got you covered. They're going to answer any questions that you may have. If you have any concerns or anything, bring them up. They're going to help you right over the phone. And just remember, they also have the lowest prices of Milwaukee tools guaranteed.
Yeah.
The best quality products at unbeatable prices. Stop into 6th Avenue in Troy, New York to learn more, or call Johnstone Supply at 518-272-5922. That's 518-272-5922. Make sure you hit them up on Facebook as well. And it's not only located in the Northeast. They're also located down in Florida by our boys Mike Tackett and Patty.
Paul Matty.
That's it.
Yep.
I don't know why I call him Patty.
That's right.
Paul Matty.
I
blended your name together. And then over by our guy Tom Leiter over in Seattle. So
absolutely.
They're a little bit spread out there. So they're here to help you, whether you're in the summer months, whether you're going into the cold, anything like that. They're the go-to place.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so next up on the clock here in the 20th selection, we've got the Pittsburgh Steelers. Joe.
Finally.
All right, the Steelers now, they are on the clock.
Yes.
And now without Ben Roethlisberger there at the helm, too.
Right.
So,
big change. Definitely. You're in rebuild mode now. As soon as you lose your quarterback, your starting quarterback that's been there for multiple years, 10-plus years, now it gets interesting because now you're trying to find a answer at that starting position. You're also trying to figure out what's your next plan of attack to rebuild this roster.
Right, and last year when we looked at the draft, we figured they had to go offensive line, right? Because they needed it.
It
and
made
they
the
needed
most
to
sense.
help them out. And what do? And they go and get Najee Harris, the running back. And I tell you, he played well, but it wasn't what they needed to help them. You know what I mean? So do they go offensive line here this year in this situation to help? Now, Mitch Trubisky that's out there all by his lonesome here that's supposed to be the guy to fill those big shoes?
And that's the thing, too, is that the Steelers, not to say that Najee Harris was a bad pick. It wasn't.
No.
It was, and it also was a need. But we still think that the biggest need was protecting Big Ben, who was there last season, or whoever else was going to end up taking over that quarterback spot. But And there was legitimate good offensive tackles available for them at that pick late in the first round last year. But they went Najee Harris. I don't fault them for it. I think he's a tremendous running back, and he's definitely working out for them. However, you need protection. No matter who's going to play quarterback, if you cannot protect them and keep them upright in the pocket, you're going to struggle. So Mitch Trubisky looks like he's going to be the starter now. Now, sadly, with Dwayne Haskins passing away, he's not going to be able to compete for that job. As well as, let's face it, Mason Rudolph is not challenging for that starting gig. But this is a perfect spot where maybe potentially the first quarterback gets taken in our mock draft.
Right.
Because Trubisky, they don't have to rush whatever quarterback into the spotlight here. Trubisky can handle the starting duties for this year at least, and then they can further develop whoever they take, which makes the most sense. Yes, they still need to address the offensive line. Absolutely. but they could do that in the second to later rounds.
All right, Lady Bill says Mitch is going to do amazing for the Steelers.
It's going to be legend. Wait for it. Daring.
And that's
All right.
and that's the funny thing too. You bring up Mitch is going to do really well for them, and this is the type. And Mitchell Trubisky is the type of mobile-esque quarterback that Mike Tomlin has been wanting for several years. So now they're going to be able to do more play action plays. They're going to be able to mix it up, maybe even do RPOs. And kind of broaden that offense that the Steelers weren't able to do.
All right, but the pick is in now for
What we
the
got?
Pittsburgh Steelers for the 20th overall selection in the 2022 NFL draft. The Pittsburgh Steelers select quarterback Malik Willis out of Liberty. So there you go. The first quarterback is off the list. Not like the wheel said. I think Kenny Pickett went third for them.
Yep. Yeah.
But we pick Malik Willis here to go off the charts here for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think, it's, again, what we talked about, maybe sit behind Mitch Trubisky, develop a little more. But he's got the overall talent, too, that will really fit nice with these guys and have that deep ball threat, too, as well. I think this is the perfect type of guy for this Steelers team.
Malik Willis is by far, I think, in terms of potential, in terms of the attributes that he already holds,
Despite what Mike
is
Tech
the
says.
best quarterback coming out this year. He has a cannon for an arm. When the only problem that you could say is like, oh, well, he locks into one receiver, whatever. That can be taught. You know what I mean? But when he wants to put the ball somewhere and place it somewhere, he's dead accurate. I mean, he's got the most phenomenal arm talent coming out in this draft. And not to mention, he's also mobile and has a great body type, a physical type of quarterback. So I've seen him stiff arm guys in college and keep running. You know what I mean? So that escapability is going to be needed in this new type of Steelers offense that they're going to implement. And I feel like it's going to fit so well for him to be a Pittsburgh Steeler because he can further develop his game while waiting behind Mitch Trubisky. And it might not be just a year. It might be 2 years down the road. In the third season, he'll be ready to take over that quarterback spot. So definitely a developmental prospect. But, man, if he reaches his ceiling or even comes close to it, he could very easily be the best quarterback coming out in this
Lady
year.
Bills, when she's talking about Mitch Trubisky, says, I liked how he played when he went in for Josh. And that offense fit him right. And that's why I thought maybe when his free agency, he would have landed with the Giants, and it looked pretty close. But he's going to try and find that spot where he could be the starter, and here it is for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
And then when the Giants went and grabbed Tyrod Taylor, too, I mean, that makes sense for me, too, and I love that as a selection for their backup, too, as well. So, but, yeah, and he can have success. I like Mitch Trubisky. I mean, he's had his issues, again, not seeing some of the guys and getting his reads right.
He's
But
also
when
played miraculously
Also,
for
when
Buffalo.
he's on the run and on the move,
Chicago.
he makes some really good plays, too, as well. So that could work out for them. All right, so that moving on to now the wheel. Let's see what the wheel selects for.
I don't want to.
Anymore. Again, who knows? It could be all over the charts here because there's a lot of good value out here.
According to
Super
the wheel.
value. The
According
wheel.
to the wheel.
They're going to get Trayvon Walker. No. They're not.
safety.
They're not. He's still out there. All right, Dax Hill finally goes here, Joe.
Yeah,
Hill finally goes here for the wheel. The wheel finally goes for Daxton Hill. Wow, man, that would suck for them. All right, so anyways. All right, so this could be maybe for some people to pick that when we give you guys our selection here that maybe even people are kind of like, yeah, maybe, I don't know. But we've got the New England Patriots here, and this team's kind of tough here to gauge when they go for picks. We've even heard some people out there even speculating about quarterback again in other different positions for the Patriots this year, which I don't see that really happening either in other stuff. But what do you think they do here for the Patriots here? I mean, there's a lot of different options because their linebacking situation, defensive guys, some of them getting older. I mean, now you've got the Dante Hightower that's gone.
Still in free agency, by the way.
Yeah. And
Kyle Van Noy still in free agency.
Yeah, free agency, but they've done that they've done that before. He's been there, left, and came back. They've still got their linemen there, their younger guys still, Dietrich Wise and Lawrence Guy here to help them out there on the defensive side. more weapons. I mean, but you still like the tight end sets that they have too, and the wide receivers. But where are we going to go here with the Patriots?
And just so everybody knows, the funny thing is as old as Kyle Van Noy is, last year he graded the best coverage linebacker in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So a guy even at his age is playing well above, expectations. So it would be a Patriots move to bring Kyle Van Noy back for another year.
Mm-hmm.
It would be. But nonetheless, they're sitting here and they could go any direction. I feel like it's going to be more of a defensive sided type of selection here for them. You have a need a corner now. Like everyone's going to be like, "Oh, but they picked up Malcolm Butler again." How good is Malcolm Butler anymore?
Yeah,
I mean,
I know, right?
He went to the Cardinals, struggled, got injured, and then hasn't played in the season. So it's like, how good do you think he's going to return? I don't have a whole lot of confidence in that kind of roll of the dice. But so they could go corner here, but they also could go linebacker, which I feel is going to be tremendous value at this point for the Patriots.
All right, so the pick is in for the Patriots, and with the 21st overall selection in the NFL 2022 draft, the Patriots select linebacker Chad Mumma out of Wyoming.
Yeah, this is a great selection. If Chad Mumma is here for the Patriots, this is a former safety converted to a linebacker, plays that middle linebacker role, and is phenomenal in coverage, comes down aggressive, read and reaction is off the charts. And that's what Bill Belichick is going to absolutely love if this prospect is there for him. Going to fit right in with this defensive scheme, and phenomenal tackler, sideline to sideline type of linebacker. So definitely fits a need, and the value is tremendous here for the Patriots.
All right, here, let's go to the spinner quick and see what the spinner says.
The spinner of
Again,
death.
the spinner of death here. But for some of these teams, I'm telling you, now you're getting some serious value out of this damn spinner, right?
Yeah.
With some of these guys here, because a lot of the big names are
The most
still on this spinner.
unrealistic mock draft ever for a spinner.
It is, because you got
And there you go,
serious
corner.
There
Trent
is.
McDuffie
Trent
goes
McDuffie
to the
goes
Patriots.
late to the Patriots. Imagine that. That would be a Patriot
That's
thing,
another
right?
amazing pick.
Right.
Would be.
It would be. That's unrealistic. All right, there we go. So we'll see, though. That would be a Patriot thing.
Never know.
Right? You never
Never
know.
know.
Never know. All right, so meanwhile, next up, we've got here the Green Bay Packers are on the clock. That's Mike Tackett's team. And, they move on from Devontae Adams, in that
They do.
trade. You re-sign Aaron Rodgers. He decides to stay, but wants his weapons too as well.
Mm-hmm.
You still have the good running backs too. That defense is what it is. You get rid of Zadarius Smith, but still have your core guys, Preston Smith and such, Darnell Savage in the back end. So with the Packers here, you think they're going on the offensive side of the ball here?
I think it makes the most sense with this pick. I mean, listen, they moved on for Devontae Adams, and Aaron Rodgers knew that was going to happen, even though he signed his mega deal. So that being said, this has got to be a pick where, listen, Aaron Rodgers has asked for this position at wide receiver for like the last several years with Devontae Adams in the roster. Now he's not there. It's got to be the pick. It's a hands down. When you got guys like Allen Lazard, not to say he's not very good, but not a number one. Randall Cobb, not a number one, especially older. And Amari Rodgers is more of a slot receiver than he is an outside receiver. So that's got to be a concern. And then you look at offensive line, everyone's going to be like, oh, well, they still need a right. No, they don't need a right tackle. Ellington Jenkins is going to lock down that right tackle position for you. They could go interior offensive line if they see fit. Maybe a Zion Johnson or someone like that. But receiver's got to be the pick. It's the biggest need, and the value is there. So who do we take?
All right, so here we go. The Green Bay Packers with the 22nd overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. They select wide receiver Jameson Williams from Alabama. So there you go. We see him sliding all the way
Tremendous
here
value.
to the Packers, and there you go. They are getting tremendous value here right there. It'll fit nice for them. I think Aaron Rodgers would be super happy. I think anybody would be happy to be able to get this here at this spot here at 22 sliding there.
Yeah.
We shall see, though, with the way this draft is going to pan out.
Never
here,
know.
where he could go. He could go a lot earlier, so people not worried about the injury so much.
That's
where
the
they might
crazy
fit
thing.
with them. So
That's the crazy thing is with any player that's injured for some strange reason, I don't know what it is, but they don't put them as high on their draft board. So we could tend to see Jameson Williams maybe slide longer than we anticipate, but we have him sliding down to Green Bay. And if you're Green Bay and Jameson Williams is still there, injury or not, this is such high value and a position in need that it's like you couldn't get to the podium fast enough to turn the card in. So fills a need, tremendous value, and they just got to evaluate him when they get him in the building. Make sure that he's 100% healthy. Do not put him out there early, and whether it's training camp hits or not. You know, he may miss some OTAs, but as long as he's able to be healthy enough to OTAs or training camp with Aaron Rodgers, that could be a nice pairing for him going forward.
All right, here in the Packers by the wheel says Hamilton. It's going to be Hamilton. Yeah, there it is. Boom.
They're going safety that they don't need. Great job.
Wheel. That doesn't know anything. It's the wheel that doesn't know anything.
The wheel of confusion is what we should call it.
The useless picks. All right, so here, next we've got the Arizona Cardinals on the clock here. Again, you know, they lose Hassan Riddick there on the defensive side. They still have some good weapons there on the offense. You know, they re-signed was it AJ Green too, I think, as well. They got their issues with Kyler Murray, but I think they'll work things out overall. I don't think they're gonna do like some of these other teams that said, well, you know, we can't work this out. I'll trade you and stuff like that. Even though the antics with, I'm gonna take you off of social media and all this other nonsense, but they're gonna get it worked out.
Yeah. And the Cardinals, you know, a lot of people are kind of pointing the finger at wide receiver because of Christian Kirk moving on in free agency and signing a big-time deal with the Jaguars. But I don't think receivers a need. No. I mean, they got to remember, Rondell Moore made a little bit of a splash last year as a rookie. He's now going to take over that starting position, and I think it's going to be great for the Cardinals. So, yes, they bring A.J. Green back on another year. He's going to team up with Rondell Moore and DeAndre Hopkins. So I don't think they go receiver in the first round, but it's a possibility, you know, after the first round that they might go wide receiver because this draft is really deep with that talent. But I see them going more defense, either corner or defensive line or maybe even interior offensive line if they see fit here. But they're going to go with a guy that slid down in the first round.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are going to be like, this is no way going to happen. But we've seen crazier stuff, guys, haven't we?
Yeah, and with the way we've been doing our draft, still people have been able to fill some needs but get great value in where they are.
And this proves to everyone that no matter where you're picking in the first round this year, it's so deep that you're going to get somebody good. And they're going to go with defensive end / edge rusher from Florida State. Am I correct right now?
Yes.
Jermaine Johnson.
There you go.
Falls right in line with them. It's not a big need because their biggest need is D-tackle. And they could easily go like a Devontae Wyatt or maybe even if Travis Jones is still there, they could go that route too. And they also could go like for interior. Zion Johnson, who I think is the best guard coming out. But for Jermaine Johnson to still be here, like Isaiah Simmons, very versatile. And they have this kind of hybrid defense that Hassan Riddick kind of made a name for himself early on as a edge rusher. I see Jermaine Johnson. And also think about Chandler Jones now moving on from this team. There's no one really replacing him yet. This could be a perfect spot. Jermaine Johnson replaces Chandler Jones in his position. And now you have a very young defensive group that's going to grow together. And create havoc in the backfield for offenses. So Jermaine Johnson, a hell of a value of a pick here. And if he's here, it's got to definitely be the one.
All right, here you go. The wheel of death and terrible picks. Boom.
Kenyon Green.
Green.
This makes sense, though.
There you go.
If Kenyon Green, is still here for the Cardinals, they could go this route too. Because it is a need and the value is there.
There you go. So some of them might be correct.
Very, very few correct ones.
Very few
correct
ones
for the wheel.
Okay, here. So next up, we've got the Dallas Cowboys are on the clock, Joe.
Oh, boy.
I got the worst logo here for the Cowboys, but I love it, though. Good. That's what their vision is all the time. It's blurry.
Giants
fan. There you go. See, look at that. That's their dreams of a Super Bowl. It's just blurry. They can't see it quite yet. There it is. See ya. So
this is a Cowboys team that has quite a few needs, right? You look at defensive line, but we see them having pretty solid defensive line still. Offensive line, we feel, is a bigger need, probably the biggest need. And then you could make the case for linebacker as well, with Jalen Smith moving out after they cut Jalen Smith. Maybe they're going to look to replace him. But we got none other. Go for it.
Yeah, I'm going to say it? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, here we go.
I don't have the list, so I'm guessing.
I thought you were going to go with it, though. All right.
I was guessing.
All right, good. Well, you're doing
Is
really
it Trevor
good.
Penning?
It is Trevor Penning
All
here,
right.
the offensive
There you
lineman.
go.
There you go. Trevor Penning here, too.
Northern Iowa.
There you go, to the Dallas Cowboys, again, to try and help out that offensive line who
Would be great. Right.
Some of them getting older, again, but mainly injury-prone, too, as well. So they're trying to help them out and protect their quarterback that they invested in, and trying to move forward to get to that Super Bowl that they keep talking to us
Now,
about.
initially, we had Bernard Raymond here slotted as a tackle to help out with this, and that could still happen. But I kind of changed it up last second with Trevor Penning because he's just a dominating figure. Not only is he a huge offensive lineman to play that right tackle spot, but one of the most vicious and aggressive linemen. He definitely looks to hurt people. Like, there's no doubt about it. He wants to throw people around, pancake them in the ground, and he does not stop until the whistle's blown, and maybe even plays a little after that. So it's something to watch for. But Trevor Penning, a really good pick here, and a solid player. Had a lot of highlights in the Senior Bowl. Kind of really made his name there, and it's been growing ever since. So an offensive lineman flying up the draft boards. This is a perfect selection for the Cowboys. If he's available right here, you got to go offensive line.
All right, here we go. Let's go to the spinner. Spinner will say here again that this is unrealistic. They're going way so far down here. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah, right.
Trayvon Walker finally going here at the with the 24th overall pick here. Look at
For
that.
the Cowboys, it'd be ridiculous.
That would be ridiculous. Imagine that.
A guy that can play DN for you and also play linebacker.
Yeah. That would be
Nuts.
sick. Right there. And then you got Parsons, Micah Parsons too there, and DeMarcus Lawrence. I mean, that's just scary. That was not even fair. Right? All right, so here we go. You don't even have room for these guys to play on the same field. All right, so that moves us into now Lady Bills, her team here. We got the Buffalo Bills are on the clock now.
Bills
Joe.
are on the clock.
All right, Joe, what do you think is a need out of this team that is really built? They're pretty stacked right now, ready to make another playoff run, go deep. They just came up shy to where everybody wanted to change the overtime rules now and stuff like that just to fit them. But the Buffalo Bills here, if anything, what is their need that they could probably do here?
This is a team that doesn't have really necessarily big-time needs, so they have the luxury of now picking
Great value, right?
great value. There's no wrong pick at this point unless they reach maybe. But nonetheless, Sean McDermott, defensive-minded guy. He may lean towards the defense because it is super deep on defense, but also they could also add to this receiving core as a possibility as well. Like we mentioned, Jameson Williams, who potentially might slide down this first round. If the Packers don't take him there, this is another spot where I feel like the rich get richer, and they could team Stephon Diggs and Jameson Williams. How crazy would that be? So they could go a lot of different ways, but they don't necessarily have a lot of needs. So we ended up taking.
All right, the pick is in, and the Buffalo Bills in the 25th overall selection in the 2022 NFL Draft select cornerback Andrew Booth out of Clemson. So there you go. You get that other corner to be on the other side of Tre'Davious White, which is a good tandem 1-2 with those guys there as well to help out even your corners on the defense.
So if you take a look at
it'd be nice for them.
Levi Wallace left due to free agency. An underrated corner, mind you, was opposite Tre'Davious White, made a name for himself with Buffalo, and now he's gone. So you have that hole there. So what do you do with this? Like a lot of people say, oh, no, let's add to that receiving core. Let's add to that offense and make it unstoppable. But it already is in that – it's already in that category. It's pretty darn good already. So they have the potential to go with wide receiver, and they have the potential to go defensive line and make it a little bit younger there, a little revamped D-line. But we decided to go with
Andrew Booth.
Andrew Booth at corner. And I think this fits this pick, the value is there for the Bills, and a guy that's going to fit right in with Sean McDermott's scheme. A guy that can play both man and zone really well. A very physical corner, guy that's great at run support, and he'll be the next corner for them for the next 10 years.
Right, and if you look at their wide receiving core too, they did add Jameson Crowder onto them with them. But really, I liked what they were doing with McKenzie too when he came in a little bit last year too as well. So I mean, they've got little hitting guys deeper in the depth chart. I think that can still help them out. I think as long as you got Josh Allen right there, the offense really revolves around him being able to do things with his legs and get open in that, in the open space and just make plays with his arm too. So I mean, they could even get value in a wide receiver in the second round too as well. So let's move on into see look what the spinner is going to say on this one, Joe.
I'm curious.
They're going to get super value for the spinner, right? Here we go. There's tons of value out here. All right, Booth's already gone. Booth is already gone on the spinner though. So let's see. It's going to be Johnson the third.
Jermaine
Right,
Johnson,
who just went for us a little bit earlier
Imagine
with
that.
the Cardinals.
Imagine that pick.
Imagine
Him
that.
going that far down, the Bills get him. Wow,
Yep.
crazy.
There you go. All right. Moving on to the next pick, we've got the Tennessee Titans now, Joe. We're getting deeper into those teams that were the playoff teams. Titans really showed toughness in the end of the season there, taking that number one spot from the Chiefs, who were holding it for a little bit, and doing it while having a lot of injuries too, and especially to their main running back too for them. So Titans, what are they going to do to help themselves here, and what's the best value for them to move forward to, again, make another later run into the playoffs?
Right. What pick is this now?
This is going to be the 26th overall.
So 26th pick is now you're getting towards that bottom of the first round. This is where you still can get value. But with a lot of these receivers that have kind of gone off the board, I think Tennessee would need a number one rated receiver, and I don't see anybody there quite yet that's deserving of this pick. People will argue Treylon Burks, but Treylon Burks isn't really that outside receiver, that guy that's going to, scare anybody to take them deep. He has average speed. So that to me is taken off the table. So receiver for me is still a need. They could address that, in the next round or the round after. But I'd see them being more of an interior offensive line position here, going in that direction. Great value here at guard. Also, edge is still available. They could go edge. They could go a lot of different guys there because still deep as well. But we ended up taking who we take.
All right, the Titans select Kenyon Green, offensive lineman out of Texas A&M here. So Kenyon Green goes
One
now
of the-
to
yeah, one of the best
Titans,
guards.
and he just left on the spinner not too long ago too.
One
as
of the
well.
best guards coming out. I also could see Zion Johnson being the pick here as well. It's really going to be up to what flavor they like in terms of their offensive linemen. But yeah, this is a good pick. Like it could be Kenyon Green, could be Zion Johnson. We go with Kenyon Green here, and you can't bat an eye at this pick. This is a great pick. He's going to be there for the next 10 years, a plug-and-play player. And they also could flip the coin here and also go the other direction and pick an edge player.
Joe, if people haven't known about this yet, where can people find us besides just Facebook?
It's very easy. We're on anywhere you follow your podcasts, anywhere you listen to them, we're there, whether it be iTunes or Spotify or just anything. We're there. Make sure you hit the follow button so you can follow our video or videos. Follow our audio captures and listen in. And if you want to be a little bit more interactive, that's when you got to step your game up. That's when you got to go watch us. Watch our videos. Be interactive. Comment down below. Like, share. Do all that. Help us grow this channel and this football family that we got going on here. All you know-it-alls are phenomenal. Thank you for all the support. But if you want to follow us, if you're new to this game, we're here for you. You can go to either Facebook or YouTube. Search us up, Football on the Nose Show. Make sure if you're on YouTube, you smash that subscribe button. Make sure you just drill right into that thing. And hit that notification bell to let you guys know when we go live. Become a know-it-all And don't forget to comment down below. Say, hey, I'm new here. What's going on, guys?
Like Lady Bill's out there says, good call with the pick. I'm here for the education. Much appreciated, guys. Yeah, no problem.
Thank
and
you,
know,
thank you.
we're here, too, for the education that you bring, too,
That's
as
right.
well. Because you being a super fan, official super fan of the Buffalo Bills, you get that inside information on all these guys, too, as well. And you tell us a lot of stuff that's going down on the that we don't get to see. You know what I mean? Before I talked to you, I didn't even know that people did so many shots out of so many different other things that I really couldn't even imagine before too as well.
Yeah.
And that even an official super fan was something you really had to even be like have certain things you need to qualify for. I thought it was just super fan. I'm the guy that can just dress crazy, and there you go. There I am.
I'm a
but it's an actual
self-declared
thing,
super fan.
Yeah, absolutely. Godzilla Media in the house.
What's
There he
going
goes,
on?
guys. It said you guys are always my number one pick. Oh, thank you so much, guys.
we
love you,
appreciate
man. We
that,
appreciate
buddy.
that as well. All right, so here we go. We just had the Titans pick here, but now we're going to go to the spinner. The spinner is going to
Wheel of Death.
The Wheel of Death, which is way off what we've been doing tonight. It's too much value here for everybody. These next guys are getting great
there
value
you
here.
go.
We're going to get Garrett Wilson here.
There you go.
Imagine that. The Bills, right? Those Bills are the Titans. The Titans getting Garrett Wilson
Be
here on the
insane.
other side of A.J. Brown and stuff. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That would be insane. All right, here we go. Seeing Goz is with us now here too.
Yeah,
that
what's
is
up?
going to bring up his
boy.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers there. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are on the clock.
How did he know?
He's got that
Just
timing,
how did he
bro.
know?
It's that thing. So, Goz, what do you think out there? What do you think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers do in this position here at the 27th overall spot here for the NFL draft?
Insider news, just
Insider
in.
news.
Not really.
Not really.
Harrison
Harrison Phillips
Phillips
is loving it with the
Vikings.
Vikings. There you go. All right. Well, thank you.
I like it.
Give me an O lineman. Godzilla Media says here. All right.
Yeah.
So you know what?
Just so you know, the needs are guard, interior
Needs are
offensive
guard.
line. That's really where you need the most help. Right, because Ali Marpet is gone.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we know it's your guy, guys. You know you loved him, and now he's moved on
Mm-hmm.
to other pastures. So Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we felt the same way. We
Absolutely.
felt that the guard position has to be filled, especially with Tom Brady returning again. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
got to make sure that Tom Brady's happy. So what's going to make him happy? Some more
Lady
protection.
Bills says, I call them getting a quarterback. I've heard some speculation of that, too, as well, but I don't really see that happening again.
Well, if you remember, they do have Kyle Trask that they drafted in the previous draft. So they're still developing him to hopefully be the next quarterback in line after Brady does leave. So I don't think drafting quarterback in the first round would be the way to go. But you never know. I definitely think that it's got to be none other than a guard.
There you go. So here we go. For the 27th overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Zion Johnson from Boston College here. So there you go. You
All
got
I
your
have to say is
offensive
that
lineman.
if Zion Johnson is here for Tampa, it is the most amazing value you could get because not only does it fill a major need, but also potentially Zion Johnson could be the best offensive guard coming out in this draft. And to get him there for Tampa Bay, and not only it's also a plus because it's a need, phenomenal player. And not to mention, he's also extremely versatile, can play both sides. Can play left guard, left tackle, right tackle, even in a pinch. So Zion Johnson would be a tremendous pick right here for Tampa.
Yeah, absolutely. Lady Bill says it was a joke to get rid of Brady. Yeah, absolutely it is for especially the Patriots, but they had to do what they had to do, so that was a big thing. And it's a joke what he's been doing with Tampa Bay, with leaving and coming back and all that stuff. Godzilla Media says, I like it as long as he isn't as fat as Zion Williamson.
Well, I got
it's a very solid pick. And busting shoes and everything, right?
All I have to say is that
man.
Zion Johnson, if you look a picture of him, he looks like a wrestler. He looks like he's just got he's like jacked, and he's extremely athletic. So I mean, he's not fat. Believe me, he's definitely a guy that's going to move people around and moves extremely well for a guy his size.
Absolutely. Eric. And let's go to the spinner. Let's see what the spinner says for
Oh,
Goss's
great.
team,
Yeah,
right?
let's see.
It's going to
Let's
be
see.
accurate, right?
Let's
It's
see.
been accurate all night here, right? The freaking spinner. Here we go. We're narrowing it down to a very few here, but they're all big names, Joe.
Exactly.
It is insane.
It's George
Karlaftis, right? The edge rusher.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. How about
I don't
that?
see it,
Rick?
but
I don't see it
okay,
either.
Wheel.
But there you go, Wheel. You're all retarded here. Come on, all right, here we go. All right, next we're narrowing it down, Joe. We're narrowing it down
next?
here. The Packers are back on the clock, Joe. Can you imagine?
Again.
That? Can you believe that? The Packers get 2 first-round picks. You know, when was the last time that happened?
Yeah, I mean,
Last time that happened is when they traded back in to the first round to select none other than
sore subject.
yeah,
Jordan Love.
Jordan Love. Yeah, absolutely. So we had the Packers grabbing in a great value pick wide receiver Jameson Williams here for Alabama. So now the Packers on their way back towards the tail end here of this draft. Joe, where do they go?
Honestly, like there's a potential where they could double down at wide receiver, and you can't fault them for it because they were in much need of receiver help before. And honestly, Randall Cobb is not the same. We all know that he's not the difference maker in the slot, but Aaron Rodgers loves the guy, and that's why he's on the team.
Yeah.
But you could further bolster this receiving core if you go wide receiver here. Again, can't fault them for it. Or they go maybe to bolster the interior offensive line as well. So there's a lot of different ways that they could go. They could also go tight end here too.
Right here. So let's take a look at it. The 28th overall selection in the 2022 NFL Draft. The Packers select tight end Trey McBride.
Trey McBride.
Sorry, I screwed it up.
Trey
can't read
McBride
my
from
damn
Colorado
writing.
State.
Yep.
This kid is definitely worth a first-round pick. We don't know where the tight ends are going to fall this year because there's so much depth in every position. You know what I mean? Minus quarterback or safety. But there's so much depth that it's going to be hard to kind of steer away from it. A lot of edge rushers, a lot of linebackers, a lot of receivers, everything. Offensive line, defensive line. But to say the least, this is a phenomenal pick. And not to mention, this is an insurance pick as well because they did, in fact, bring back what's his name?
Tunyon?
Robert Tunyon.
Oh, but they got Mercedes Lewis,
who is coming back from a big injury. And Mercedes Lewis is kind of as old as a dinosaur at this point. I'm amazed that he's still playing, to be honest. So they get a steal right here with this pick. Trey McBride, he runs like a wide receiver but has the body of a tight end. It's absolutely ridiculous. He reminds me a lot of George Kittle. You know, very athletic, strong, is a good blocker, but also an extremely great receiving threat. Phenomenal hands. So this is like a can't-miss prospect for the Green Bay Packers. And not only it's not a wide receiver, but it's still going to help Aaron Rodgers in the passing game.
Absolutely. Help out in that offense, too, as well. And, again, like I said, it's a great backup plan.
And here we go. Let's really piss off Aaron Rodgers. Let's just really piss him off, Wheel. Let's
Malik
Willis.
Let's get Malik Willis into the mix with Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. That would be amazing. Gutekunst, you better just sign your papers right now and just walk away, buddy.
Just get out of the office.
If that happens, just get the hell out right now. Oh, man. So, all right, so that brings up, we're getting towards the tail end. We've got back-to-back picks with the Chiefs. I know because, you know, just like Gaz watches our show, and he's one of our number one fans in the number one pick.
We hope so.
I watch his show as well, and he thought this area right here would be very intriguing in a trade, possibly, with the Chiefs.
So here's
this is interesting.
Here's what I would say about trades. The Chiefs are not going to trade out. In fact, I see them trading up in this draft. I see them packaging both their first round picks to maybe move up if there's a guy that they really like or something like that. Much like they did with Patrick Mahomes. You know, they didn't have two number ones then, but they packaged some picks so they can move up and get their guy. So if there's a player or a prospect that they really have fallen in love with, but they're like, there's no way we see him this late, they might do that. They might package at least these 2 1s to move up and maybe get that guy.
Yep.
So as
absolutely.
far as needs go, they could go D-line to kind of help Chris Jones out, maybe get another D tackle because Jerron Reed left. They could also go corner, which is, I feel like, the biggest position of need for the Chiefs because they just don't have any good protection. As far as the passing game goes, they can't stop it. They've done a great job at stuffing the run, but, man, they've really struggled in terms of holding teams to low passing yards. And now you top that. Here's the other big thing, too, is Tyrann Mathieu is no longer there. That was their leader, their captain of this secondary. And now that he's not there, I think this is a bigger loss than the Chiefs organization is not prepared to follow after here. Without Tyrann Mathieu, the guy that was super versatile for them, who could play safety, could play nickel corner for them, and lock receivers down. Now that he's not there, they did make a trade with the Texans for Justin Reed to kind of replace him. Younger, but not Tyrann Mathieu. Not a guy that can do as many things as Mathieu can do, and as smart as he is. So now that he's gone, that's a big loss, and I feel like they're going to need as much cornerback help as possible.
Thanks for the treat, stupid.
All right, here we've got Jim Radley is in the house with us
What's going
tonight,
on,
Joe.
Jim?
Radley's saying hi. He's
Welcome.
here late,
Welcome.
11:41 Eastern time. There's Jim Radley saying hi. Man, must have woke up from his nap. All right, so here we go. The Chiefs, there they go. They're on the clock, but the pick is in, Joe, for the Chiefs. Let's do it for back-to-back. Let's do both their picks. The Chiefs select here with the 29th overall selection, cornerback Kaiir Elam from Florida.
Yeah, Kaiir Elam. I mean, that's a solid pick, low in the draft, which is kind of where he could be selected. He might not even make it in the first round. So, but with cornerback, I feel like this is like definitely a needed position. The value is kind of there, and he kind of fits this physical style defense that they like to play. Really good man-to-man corner, and also very tall and lean. That the Chiefs really like. So definitely needs further development, but his natural attributes are definitely number one, lower one-round corner.
All right,
And
and their
then what's your
selection
second
right
pick?
after that is edge rusher George Karlaftis from Purdue here. So Karlaftis goes here now.
This
So
is a major.
nice.
This is like major value. George Karlaftis, the Greek god himself on the football field. He's going to wreak havoc as a defensive end. And I could actually almost see George Karlaftis handle a D tackle position as well. A guy that's very powerful, very strong, comes from a wrestling background, and has only played 1 year as a starter in college football. So people might see him as a 1 year wonder, which might lead me to believe why he slips this far down. But in terms of talent, it's off the charts. So definitely would be an intriguing pick for the Chiefs, to say the least.
Absolutely. So let's go to the spinner here for these two quick and knock this out.
I cannot wait.
Unbelievable
Does
spinner.
Kayvon Thibodeau make the
Does he
first
finally
round?
go? He slipped this far, Joe. There's major problems going on in this draft. Something came out that, surprised everybody. Linderbaum's going. They're going to go offensive lineman.
They're going to go center. They're going center with this
There you
pick.
go. There you go. Boom.
Not
All
going
right.
to happen, but okay.
Yep. There you go. And next here, let's go back to back.
Oh, this is a good chance here.
Here we
This
go.
is a
You
good
got those
chance.
four
Oh,
left.
nope, it's going past.
Not. It's going to go Icky, which is funny because he went early in our draft. And there you go. He falls all the way to the 30th pick.
we know that.
Unrealistic.
We know
not
that's
gonna
not
happen.
happening.
This
No
thing,
way.
this list got blown out of proportion here with this
And
spinner a long time
we've
ago.
made it to the last pick.
Last
first
two,
round,
we got two
Who's
right
that?
here. We've got the Bengals, and then we've got
Oh,
the
that's right,
Lions have
Bengals.
the last one
Yep.
again. So do not forget about the AFC champions here, the Cincinnati Bengals again, who really jumped on the scene last year quick with their team, bouncing back after the season before Joe Burrow having that injury that he did. That really set things down for them. But last year, getting having Jamar Chase together with them too, really complimented them well. Plus, getting Joe Mixon together with the passing game and the running game, it was amazing to see what these guys can do. They're young, they're fresh. Everybody's jumping on board with this team, and here they are picking late. what kind of value pick are you going to get with the Cincinnati Bengals?
I mean, they don't have a lot of needs. So, I mean, it's a luxury pick. So, I mean, I know it's late in the first round, but they could go guard. I mean, they did sign Ted Karras, the center, in free agency, and Alex Kappa, and also La'el Collins. So they really kind of did an overhaul of this offensive line, which was being picked on in the playoffs. So now they strengthen this offensive line, no longer a weakness, now it's a strength. But they could go take that extra step in protecting and opening up rushing lanes with a left guard here. That's a possibility. They also could go lottery pick of defense, whatever is best available to them. So what did we go with?
All right, here we go. The Bengals have the selection in, and they are going cornerback, Jalen Armour-Davis out of Alabama here. They get a good, solid corner here to help them out there in the secondary. Again, like Joe says, luxury picks right here for them. And that will bring...
And that means that Eli Apple is cut.
Eli Apple, exactly.
We're going to call it right now.
That's the way we looked at it, too. That's the way we looked at it.
Because I'm sorry.
Lived out his,
I can't imagine them not taking it. If there's a good corner right here left for them, which there most likely will be, I can't imagine Eli Apple staying a Cincinnati Bengal unless it's depth. You know what I mean? They got to go corner.
Absolutely. So here we go. He's finally going.
Oh, there he is.
Thibodeau finally going.
Going to the Bengals.
To the Bengals. Oh, man.
Falling that far.
Scary stuff, dude. Scary stuff right there.
I'll tell you right now, if something like this was to happen with any of these really top-notch prospects, you know teams are calling to trade back into the first round to get them.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So here we go. We are at the last pick. Here we go for the first round. And it is the Detroit Lions here.
Yes, sir.
Again, they get to come back. They were second in this draft.
Finish
now
off what they started.
On the tail end right here. And it's funny because I did talk to Cody Raptor early on this today about this, and he was telling me about his mock draft, which he has posted on our Facebook page, I think, too, or Facebook group. He had the Lions going quarterback right here, and I think he went with Corral here. Yeah. But I said to him again, I'm like, well, I understand what you're thinking is, here and there, but in turn, this is the first round here still. They get the second pick in the second round too as well. They're right back there. So right now you could still grab some good value there. And I think still, because again, Jacksonville's coming around for the first pick. They're not going to go quarterback. No. You can get Corral right there in the second round as well and then fall back. So that's why I was thinking on a different path here for the Lions here too. And what do you think? You on the same kind of page here?
I don't think they go quarterback with any of those picks. And I'll tell you why. If they did, I feel like it would be Kenny Pickett because he is the most NFL ready. And the only thing that concerns me is his hands, like I said before. But this is another indoor team. So at least halfway through the year, he's going to be protected being inside from inclement weather if it happens. So, and I feel like this would be a good spot for him to go in Detroit. However, this team is still rebuilding, and they have Jared Goff. And as much as everyone wants to kind of point the finger and say, oh, well, they need to draft their guy, there's a reason why he was put in that trade because the Lions wanted him, because they wanted a quarterback to replace him. And they didn't have to take him in that trade. They could have negotiated a different way. But I think Goff is still young. I feel like you just build around him at this point. So you keep building this team up. So with the last pick in the first round, I think they go for another, they could go position of need now and not so much value because it's all there. They could go linebacker. They could go corner. They could go safety. So there's a lot of avenues they could go. But I think they might, kind of project for defense and kind of help it out further.
That's right. Here you go. The Detroit Lions here with the last pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. They go with linebacker Trey Anderson.
Anderson.
Yeah. See, I keep writing my A's and E's all messed up.
It's all right. You'll get there. But we're going to go with Troy Anderson here. A very underrated linebacker.
Montana State?
Montana State. I was thinking about them. I'm like, is it Washington or Montana? But Montana State, this kid is an underrated linebacker. I don't even know if he goes this low. It's very possible he gets picked higher than this. But if he's there, This is going to further bolster their linebacking core, making this defense a little bit better. And we're still rebuilding this defense. We're going to build this up. The Lions have the luxury of having multiple picks, and it's going to really help them. Listen, this is an organization that we were kind of scoffing at last year. Like, oh, they got Dan Campbell, and they have Jared Goff, and they got some nice pieces, but are they really going to do enough this year? Are they going to be competitive? They surprised the hell out of me. They were not only competitive in every game, they were close to winning them, a lot of them. So,
against tough playoff teams, too, as well.
Right. Now you look at this draft, and if they manage to hit on all these picks, that's going to make them even stronger, where they might turn those close wins to wins. Not saying that they're going to, make a point of winning the division just yet, because they got a long way to go. But man, they could really start to scare some people a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a great pick for them, if in fact it happens, and with the guys left from the Wheel of Death.
There you go. And Seed doesn't even go in the first round.
And I just listen. There's a lot of things, but Boye Mafe, they call it. They say he's a defensive lineman, but to be honest, he's going to transition into more of that linebacking role, like an outside linebacker, but rush off the edge. Not so great in coverage. Was just a defensive end in college. I think he's going to struggle because he's a little bit too much of a tweener. But Boye Mafe, I see him being picked in the second round, not even in the bottom of the first round. But nonetheless, that wheel is so screwed up.
That wheel has got screwed up a long time ago. So there you go.
But there you have it.
There you go. There's our mock draft.
That's it. It's done.
Yeah, it is done.
Book
there
it.
you go. So we'll see what happens. We're going to monitor it throughout the game, or
You
throughout
can
the show
right.
tomorrow.
And the funny thing is you'll be able to tell, how good we did if we still have a hangover.
Yeah, right. Because that's why. Are we going to do the shots or something like that too?
We gotta
like
do
every
the
time
shots.
we get one right, we're going to do a shot.
That's
It's
it.
less likely we're going to get some right. So I think last year we had like 7 to 8 shots.
Right.
I think, though.
Yeah,
So
I think it was
we did pretty good.
around there. But just so everybody knows, if you're in the capital region, if you're locally around here, meet us at Katie O'Byrne's in Schenectady, because that's where we're going to be hanging out. We're going to be watching the draft there. We're going to be hanging out with friends. We're going to be mingling with everybody. I can't wait. It's going to be a blast. So if
I'm
you're
going to try and get out. Hopefully, I'll see what time my wife gets home, but we'll see what happens. Because she runs the house.
Right.
Let's
If you're local in the area, head over to Schenectady, New York. Katie O'Byrne's. That's where we're going to be. That's where we're going to have our so-called draft party.
And then also, don't forget at Iron's Edge, Godzilla Media's draft party and special. They start at 6:30. Pre-show is going to be at 6:30 with Levac and Gaz, our guys, and going right until the draft starts at 8 o'clock. Then at 8 o'clock, a lot of the other podcasts that are on Godzilla Media can join along with guys and talk about the draft and prospects and who they see by be going. I think Ryan McCarthy's going to be part of it too. He's a real good dude. So check that out too as well. If you guys are up in the Ballston Spa, I believe it is, and it's a brand new restaurant and the golf course up there. So if you guys are up around that way too, check them out. See everybody live.
Definitely. But that concludes our mock draft, everybody.
Yeah.
Hey, if you have
Lady Bill said she might stop by. There you go.
That's cool. Listen, if you have your own mock draft, please by all means post it in our group. You know what I mean? Because that's what it is. We had one of our know-it-alls, Cody Raptor. He posted in our group what he thought his top 5 in terms of positions are. I'm hoping that he posts his mock draft up there because it'd be cool to compare each other's thoughts and opinions and see how well we all do. Or how terrible we all do, which is the more likely.
That is the more likely to see who's the less terrible, I guess, out of it all, I guess.
Listen, if you're new to the show, also, you know what?
What's up?
We're jumping around here a little bit, but let's thank all our sponsors. Let's thank everybody. I mean, listen, even the people that have started to help us out from day one. Down Monday, the band, if you haven't heard about them, make sure you look them up.
Go on iTunes, you guys. Check out Down Monday. They're an awesome group.
If you're into rock music, it's an awesome, underrated band. It really is. You got to check out their music. That's what you hear in our intro and outro. So kudos to them. Was it John? What's his last name?
Man, what the hell is John's last name? I haven't talked to him in so long, man.
But John, if you're out there, thank you so much for giving us the ability to use your music. It's been amazing. But also, we have our voiceover guy,
Stephen Murray.
Yeah, Stephen Murray. He's been amazing for us. He's the voice of Football on the Know.
He is.
So
And he is the voice of the DJ in the video game Knockout City for EA Originals.
yeah,
So
listen,
check it out.
if you need any help from him, if you need any voiceovers, or he even does like cool skits and stuff, voiceactorgarage.com, is that what it is?
Absolutely.
But hit us up, support him as well, support all our guys down Monday. And our sponsors, Johnstown Supply, Mohawk Honda, Buck Environmental Solutions,
I got to
PPK,
call
Paul
all
Perry
those guys,
Kitchens,
I think.
and Colorize.
Yeah.
They're all great sponsors of ours,
Absolutely.
and we look to continue the relationship further. But thanks everybody out there that's given us support thus far. Listen, if you're new to the show, make sure you help us out and grow this channel on YouTube. Football on the Know Show. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. Let you guys know when we go live, as well as on Facebook. You can follow us there. Become a know-it-all in the group. And yeah, we're done. We're out.
That's it.
We can't wait for tomorrow. Hey, listen.
Absolutely.
Stop by Katie O'Byrne's in Schenectady, New York, if you're in the area.
Or if you're on our Facebook group too, post some stuff during the draft, like
Reactions.
reactions and stuff like that. That's
Yes.
what we love. We have great reactions from us with the
Yes,
draft
we
and stuff after
definitely
the Daniel Jones pick and everything. So we really appreciate it. Thanks for sticking out with us tonight. It got late, but we had a lot of fun, and we will see you guys next time. See you tomorrow.
Join us next week from 8 till 10 Wednesday night for more Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.